Coming up on the next episode of the Celsius Pod.
Oh yes! No,
It is
There's
like
so
a
much
horror
negative
movie.
space on this one square, and they keep cutting back to it.
They are in
Something must appear in the square, and then nothing appears in the square.
Why are you pretending to be bad then? You're gonna die. Why didn't you ever stop time? You did it 2 times. Once at the beginning, once 5 minutes later, and then you couldn't do it for an hour, and then you did it, and then you started making out with the girl, and I'm going insane. The movie made me so go crazy, and then I walked out of the theater, and I saw 5 raccoons crawl into a sewer grate, and that made more sense to Shut the fuck up, Nikola. God damn it! We're ready! 90 fucking 7!
98.
6.
98.
102.
Okay, you can start from the top.
All right.
No, this is it. We were in the
currently
episode.
51 degrees Fahrenheit in
Okay.
Belgrade.
It's 96, episode 96.
96,
the weather,
guys.
96
Holy
and
shit.
51 in Serbia.
It's 81
It
here.
is 59 in
I don't know
Boston.
why my phone is so
62 in
shiny.
Ithaca.
81, but on a shiny ass phone.
Guys, I got the iOS 18, and now I customize it to dark mode.
Wow, dark
I did that
mode.
like
He
a
thinks
year
he's
ago.
an edgelord.
So guys, this episode is gonna be very, very hefty. You know.
Oh yeah.
But let's just get the ball rolling. Beck, I want to know why the fuck you watched Am I Racist? Matt Walsh is like
Because he wants to
weird
know
ass
if he's racist or not.
documentary.
No.
Were you racist?
Is he racist?
Now,
Did you find out, are
Let
you
me
racist?
explain to you why I did this.
I'd love to hear it.
So, Aiden, a couple
Yeah.
of months ago, was like, I am going to attempt this challenge where if one member of the podcast watches a movie that came out in 2024, I will also watch it.
Which
And
I did
animal?
say that.
I decided that now that I'm at a school that is half a block from a movie theater, I can just go watch the worst films ever made, and then Aiden has to go watch them. So it's a
You
form
can
of
do that.
psychological torture against Aiden to make sure
really
he
is.
cannot complete this challenge.
Don't you ruin yourself in the process since you're torturing yourself?
No, because I can take it, you know?
Beck, you can't take a period simulator at 1. What
Yeah.
makes you
He
think
couldn't take it at 0. Let's not forget that. He couldn't take
You
it when it was
couldn't
off.
take it when it was on your body.
He just didn't like the feeling.
don't
of the
talk about
pads on
that.
him.
Beck, you can't do a half mile, a half like 30-minute like quick like short little walk. You can't do short walks.
Okay. But
Okay.
I'd like to explain what happened at Am I Racist. So I walk out of my old ass, which we'll talk about later in the episode, and then I look and they have a showtime in like 10 minutes. So I'm like, I'm gonna go to that. I go, I sit down in the theater completely alone. No one else has bought
Oh.
tickets, so I thought,
And then
hey,
a black person
I'm gonna
walked
be
in and you're
so
like,
show.
damn, I am racist.
And then a couple walks in. They sit in the row in front of me, and it's
And
like,
they were
I'm
colored.
glad.
And he was like, oh my God, I guess I am racist. They could have sat anywhere else.
Why would a couple want this as their date night movie?
Yeah, true.
Yes, and they looked at me and said, "I'm glad we're not the only ones here." I'm like,
I'm glad we're not racist.
Whoa! You're not on their team.
I'm not on their team, bro. And I didn't want to say that because it'd be awkward for the next two.
Beck, you just met a racist couple.
Yes.
Let's
Crazy.
go.
And there was some other guy that walked in who looked like the most diehard Republican.
That sounds
Oh,
so
okay.
fun. Oh my
Guys,
God.
so
so
we
we
go-
about to be shot in this theater.
You
We
should've just
go
watched it
into the
first.
trailers, and then it immediately is like the most alt-right movies that I've ever like seen. And I get this one for a movie that came out last week. It was called Vindicating Trump. And it was like, guys, they're going after Trump. And they showed like this whole documentary
Is this like the
style.
Ronald Reagan documentary? Is it similar?
Yeah. But so let's get into the actual movie. So
How about you give us very, very brief bullet points?
Okay, so Matt Walsh, this guy, it starts with this stupid skit of him in a diner and he's trying to order coffee. And the person asks, how do you like your coffee? And it's like, can I say black here?
Oh my
What
God.
if that's racist, guys?
This is not very simple bullet points I'm hearing.
No,
What
I'm just
hearing-
starting with that.
Bro is hearing the full synopsis.
Okay, but we're already starting off insanely stupid, by the way.
Right.
So, and then he's like, I am going to discover how to not be racist
Well,
throughout
that's
the
it.
course of this documentary. So
Fancy.
he's like, what I'm going to do is I am going to attend this anti-racist workshop. So he
Oh my
goes and he
God.
attends this anti-racist workshop and is just a giant asshole to everyone and like keeps interrupting everyone, just being an asshole.
Now, and can I ask something? Is
Yeah.
this movie framed like a bunch of I got liberal moments?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think the real question is, did he become not racist?
Yeah, is
Yeah.
he racist?
No, because I
Because
think
they
at the
deserved
end
it.
of the movie, he makes like a racist joke about Mexicans, and that's supposed to show that he's good. So
What?
he goes
Yeah.
to this anti-racism
Oh,
meeting.
so now he's no
And
longer
then-
racist against black people. He's racist against Mexicans, and that's why it's
guys,
good.
So
I can't help
he-
but say Beck is the worst person to probably describe this movie.
Yeah.
okay. So we have all that, and then he goes to like take a break, and then everyone at the meeting is like Googles him. They realize, oh, what the fuck? What's this guy doing? Okay. Then he attends an online DEI course, and then
Which
he has
is
this.
diversity exclusion initiative.
Oh, no,
something like that?
No, guys, you wanna love the tagline of this movie? It's
Yeah.
a comedy to DEI for. Get it?
Die is
Like die, but like
DEI.
Okay, so he just completes this online course and gets this paper certificate, and then he does this terrible running bit through the entire movie. He just goes up to random people and just shoves the badge in their face and says, "Hey, I'm DEI certified. Look at this. Look at this. You see
Look,
this?
I'm allowed to be racist.
Look, I'm not racist. I did the DEI thing."
I can say racist remarks, but I'm not racist because I went to DI.
And then he just goes to like a bunch of other conventions and annoys
Does
people.
it actually work in real life? Can I go do
And
that?
then he hosts his own convention, and then he realizes I should just be racist, and that's the end of the
So
movie.
true. Peak
This movie
movie.
just-
The most Nikola movie.
Absolute
Guys,
peak movie.
this movie it
Yeah.
does seem like a bunch of cherry
This-
picked moments to try to prove some point that doesn't exist for Matt Walsh.
Yeah, and no, he does this whole thing where it's like, we paid this person $50,000 to do this. Look how they're taking your money. I'm like, you offered them $50,000, and you're like, they took $50,000 from me.
I'd take
Yeah.
$50,000.
There's only one
almost
upside
anything.
to this movie, which is the fact that it is like an independent production that did go into theaters, so it shows that like independent things can go into theaters. But it's unfortunately this is the one that's
Let's go
being
back.
shown.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but you did say that you didn't buy a ticket for this and you snuck in.
I did sneak into the theater because
You
I was
didn't
just
even-
like,
You didn't even buy a ticket for a different movie and then go in.
no, because I just walked out of my old ass. So
Oh,
I was still
okay.
I was still
He
in
double-
the theater
Oh,
complex.
so he double.
So I
featured it.
double featured this, and I was
Oh,
gonna call
okay.
it
Racist?
"Am I my old ass?"
Hmm. Am I my
Yeah.
old ass?
So
Right.
racist? Am I my racist old ass?
Yeah, racist.
Yeah.
Racist
Am
old
I?
ass.
Am I racist?
My old
ass?
racist.
My old
My
racist
old
ass.
racist ass.
Yep.
I like it.
And
so
so
Ben,
that was
You gave it a 5 out of 5?
no. I gave it half a star.
Half a star is generous, Beck.
Yeah, that's a bit
I-
generous.
Yeah.
Hey, well, it is still a movie.
True.
It's a movie.
Yeah, that's why
Yeah.
I guess the half a star.
And I did eventually have to just go on Instagram Reels halfway through because I was dying of cringe. Like I could not stare at this screen and look at this dude being
Was
a
the
fucking
couple-
dumbass.
Was the couple like, yeah?
Yeah,
Let's
were they
go.
cheering and clapping?
I was very much trying to hide in that theater. If someone at my school saw that I was in a showing for "Am I Racist?"
Oh, right, because
I was
You-
never
Emerson
gonna
is like
you-
super
could-
liberal, right?
You could super easily say, guys, it is for the bit though.
It's for the bit.
I feel like if you,
desperately trying
I feel
to
like if
explain
you were
it.
like, I went to Horizon, I saw Borderlands, I saw It Ends With Us. I'm seeing
No,
all the
if
bad
World-
movies.
If anyone went in, I was gonna be like, I'm a film reviewer. I have to see it, like, to review it.
Yeah.
I bet the guy who's like the really Republican guy who's like, oh, let's fucking go. He brings out his gun. Yeah.
He better be racist by the end of this.
Pulls out his AR-15.
That was
If
the
he's
most
not
dangerous
racist,
I
I'm
felt
shooting up the
sitting in a
billboard.
theater.
Awesome.
Okay,
movie.
so that was Am I Racist? Don't watch it. Except Aiden, who has to now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Aiden, I can't believe you were gonna watch this movie.
I will have to when it comes to streaming on November 27th.
Where is it coming on streaming? Like Daily Wire Plus?
HBO Max.
Really? Okay. It was really funny because during the title crawls, they had like what? It was Daily Wire Plus. Like they were
Oh,
showing like the
no.
studio.
Not
And
the
I just-
Daily Wire.
On the
And I'm
Daily
like,
Wire.
what the fuck, bro?
All right. So here's what I think we should do today. Now that we've officially
Singles.
kind of gotten into it, I think we should
Sure.
start with Nikola. Everything
Oh,
that
yeah.
Nikola watched, and then we can allow him to leave because
I'm
we
fine
have
with staying. I don't know why I would leave.
well
I wanna
because
hear
we
it.
Nicola,
have
we will be yelling about Transformers, Megalopolis, My Old Ass,
Yeah, I want to hear all of that.
Um,
You think I don't want to hear that?
Wild Robot, Back to the Future, Substance.
High School Musical,
What?
not the musical, the series. Beck.
That's the only.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
Okay, Nicola, tell us why you didn't like Inside Out 2.
So it's
3
just
stars, Nicola.
yeah. Let me pull up my review.
3 stars.
So, let's just go in order of my letterbox. Actually, let's just do that. How about that?
I like it. Which
So-
means we're starting off with the peak that is.
The Crow, right? We still haven't talked about The Crow.
No, we
talked
talked
about
about
The
the Crow.
Crow.
Okay, then I
what
think
are
it's
you
Saltburn.
talking
I think
about?
it's Saltburn. Then is the last.
No, it's Night at the Roxbury.
No, it's the Grand Tour.
You,
What?
oh, we're not
Oh
talking about Grand
bro
Tour,
wants to
dude.
talk
Okay,
about
fine,
Grand Tour.
You're not
A
talking about the
Night
Grand Tour
at
again.
the Roxbury's. So, as you know, in the past, I have said this is my favorite movie of all time.
And it is.
Legally bound
And
through a contract.
Legally binding through a contract. Then I had about a while to think about it and watch some more movies, and I realized maybe not my favorite movie of all time. And we've gotten into some heated arguments about that because I didn't realize I was legally binded.
You
It
are
was
Uh,
legally binding.
It was legally
But
binding.
legally bound.
then I finally was like, you know what? What is it actually on? Because I have not watched it in so long. I need to rewatch it.
And it's peak.
I look it up. It's on Max. And I'm like, holy shit, I'm watching this shit now. In the middle of class, I pull that shit up and I'm like, I can do my work and watch this at
That's
the same
not
time.
a middle of class movie, dude.
Yeah, it is. I pull it up
Nicola,
on my
does
phone
it-
and I start watching it.
Does it
And I'm
take
like-
place in the Boston neighborhood of Roxbury?
It does, in fact, take place in the Boston neighborhood of Roxbury.
Beck, do you
I
live
actually
there?
don't know. I don't remember. I think it is, though. But I think it's actually about the club named the Roxbury, and that's why it's
Yes.
called A Night at the Roxbury.
That is why it's
Mm.
called
And that
that.
club just happens to be in a place in Chicago. It's not. But overall, I was pleasantly reminded why I really like this movie. And while it is
Pleasantly
not
reminded.
my favorite movie still,
I think it is.
I'm going to, yeah, legally it's my favorite movie.
Legally,
that'll
it is your
change.
favorite.
That'll
It
probably
still
change in
legally has to
December.
be.
Mm-hmm.
That might
But you
change
did
in
still think
December.
it was a peak movie.
But I still thought it was really good. It is still a really funny and really good movie. Especially now that I'm older, I can also get a lot of the references. Because I remember when the first time I watched it with my dad, he all the time he'd be like, "Yo, I got that reference. It's from a different movie," and I didn't get it because I hadn't seen like any movies. That was like one of the first movies I've ever seen with my
You've
I
seen a
ever
lot
saw.
of movies, I think.
No, at that the first time watching that was like the first movie I've ever watched,
Yeah.
and I didn't get any
Really?
of the references. Now I get the references, and it makes it even better. So it makes it my third favorite movie of all time.
That's so
And
it
what
is
first
still
two?
up there.
So the next thing I watched is the
Wait, Nicola,
re-release.
what's your first
We're
two
getting
favorite
to that.
movies?
We
Oh,
watched the re-release of Whiplash in theaters. I went with my friend.
So did I.
It was really good.
So did I.
I
Absolute
did not
cinema.
watch it in theaters again.
Absolute cinema. It's such a good movie. I agree with Beck. It is very good. It is phenomenal directing, phenomenal cinematography, phenomenal lighting. You know how much I
Are
love
you-
Damien Chazelle's lighting.
Are you,
Uh,
Beck, Nicola, are both big Damien Chazelle fans, I assume?
I am a very big Damien
I'm
Chazelle fan.
rewatching Babylon right now, and it's better than I remember. I think
I am
I'm
a
at
very
like four
big
and a
Damien
half right
Chazelle
now
fan,
as
yes.
my rating of it.
But that makes Whiplash my second favorite movie.
Where
As
your first
opposed-
movie?
Bro has had like 8 separate second
My
favorite
first,
movies.
no, now this is like I finally locked it in. I at least
Well,
have
can you
my
put
top
it
three
on-
locked in.
Can you put it on Letterbox like your
Sure.
top
Yes,
movies?
please
Sure, I'll
put
do
it
that.
on
But I've now
Letterboxd.
locked in my top three is A Night at the Roxbury, Whiplash, La La Land.
Not Dune 2?
Dune
Not
2?
Dune 2. Dune 2
Maybe
is
is
top
Dune 2
10.
your fourth? Is
No,
it
it's
your
my-
fourth?
I would say right now it's maybe fifth or sixth, but that could be because I
Okay.
haven't watched it recently enough. I feel like
Two
I'm gonna watch it.
Damien
That's gonna bump it
Chazelle
up to a
films in
4.
your top 4
Okay,
is
fun
kinda
fact.
crazy.
I'm like 90% sure. If I remember correctly, I'm pretty sure Damien Chazelle also helped with the lighting on
Dune 2,
on
yeah.
Dune 2. So
But
bro's the
I think I
goat.
remember hearing that too, yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah, I
so
remember hearing that
there's a
from
reason.
Nicola.
I agree with Beck. I really like that. So then the next thing I had watched recently would be
La La Land.
Inside Out 2.
Uh-oh.
He
Oh,
gave
yeah,
it
I
the
technically-
same rating as
Technically,
If.
I did rewatch La La Land, and I mean, I didn't re-rate it because again, it's a 5-star again. There's no reason to
Why do
re-rate
you?
it.
So why do you love La La Land so much, though?
It just does. So
The
for a
lighting.
movie to be good, it has to do everything really well. But for a movie to be great, it has to pay attention to the little details. And you can tell in La La Land how much thought and care was put into anything. You can tell how much passion was in this project. And you could tell that everybody who worked on it really enjoyed it and actually like cared about it. And it reflects so well. And just like every single part of it is like amazing to me. I love every single part of it. And that's why it's my favorite movie. Because I just don't have a single bad thing to say about it. I
Especially the
like
color.
it so much.
The color,
Especially
is
the
amazing.
color.
You love the
Especially the
lighting,
color.
I think, right?
The color and the lighting. I've said it multiple times, and there's a reason. It's my favorite thing about the movie. So then the last thing I would say, I guess we're going to talk about the Penguin altogether later. So
Well, altogether,
the
by
last
just
thing
you
I'll
and
talk about
Ray.
is Inside Out 2.
Same
So,
rating as If.
I
You thought
gave it-
Inside Out 2 and If were like the same level of
I
quality.
didn't think of it that way. I like If more than Inside Out 2.
I'm gonna fucking kill you, Nicola.
I'm not kidding. I
Nicola,
enjoyed. I actually
Aiden, I will
enjoyed
Amazon ship you a knife. You need to grab the knife and stab Nicola with it.
I am
You
not
know,
kidding.
Do you
I have
understand?
not-
I actually enjoyed If a lot
Okay,
more.
get
than
one of your knives
I
and
was
track
debating
down
between-
Nicola's location
I was
and
debating
stab
between-
him.
Yeah, but I was debating between 2.5 or 3 stars for that. But I was like, it's a little bit too mean to do 2.5. But now that you said that it's the same as If, I definitely liked If more. So I'm bumping that down to 2.5.
You're saying this to a guy who watched it 4 times in theaters, Nick.
Yeah.
I know.
So
It's really
I can
funny.
see
That's
why
the
it's a
funny part.
Beck movie. Definitely not a me movie. It's very
Can't even find the words for it.
decent. It's very average. It's like it's a kids movie. It's like If it's like the same way. Like I'm watching it like the same way I watch If. Like they're both kids movies. They're both for kids. They both have messages they're trying to tell, and I'm like, yeah, they do it, and they're both pretty average kids movies. I enjoyed watching If more than I enjoyed watching Inside Out 2.
Okay, that's just a bad take. I think.
Nicola, you quite literally went with us previews night to watch Inside Out 2.
I didn't.
you're
I never went to
telling-
watch
No, he
Inside Out
didn't.
2 with you guys.
He
I
didn't
wasn't
watch
there.
that.
Oh,
wasn't
wait, he
there.
wasn't with us?
I was in
No.
Europe. I was still in Europe then when
Oh.
it came out. I've been waiting all this time for it to
So
come out.
you're
the day
telling
before.
me. So you haven't seen Inside Out 2 before.
This is my first time watching it. This is my first watch through, and I was like, "It's all right." I mean, there was
Okay,
many.
actually, I thought this was a rewatch, and now this changes things. Okay,
This is my first ever watch of it. I've never
This is
watched
your
it
honest.
before,
Is it a real
and I've
honest?
never
This is
seen
your
it before. This is my
honest-
honest review, and I was like, "It's an average movie." There were some parts that I like actively got secondhand cringe from, but I feel like those were kind of the points of a lot of those scenes. But still, it like was a bit too much for me. And it's like they got their message across. I mean, the story is decent. It's a pretty, I mean, yeah, it's just a pretty average movie. I don't hate it,
Yeah.
but it's like,
I mean, compared
it's
to the original,
average.
it's like just not as
yeah,
good.
that's also the other thing. I was comparing it to the original, and I remember the original is pretty good.
What
And
would
I'm
you
like,
give
I'm
the
watching this one. I'm
original?
like, it's like just not as good as the original. It's just average.
I'd give the original 4.5.
I would give the original maybe 3.5 to 4.
That's also fair.
You're
But I would say
telling me
this
the
movie
sequel is
average.
2 stars lower?
I kind of agree with him. I don't think the sequel is
yeah.
all that amazing.
Yeah, the sequel is really kind of average.
That's what I
I
said.
agree with Nicola. It's average, but it's not. I don't prefer If. I didn't like If,
The
but
issue
it's
is,
an
like,
average movie.
I'm not literally gonna put it below If. Like, I'm just like remembering I liked If more than I liked Inside Out 2. The issue, but it's not like a half a star difference. It's maybe like a 10th of a star difference.
Yeah.
Like, it's a small amount. But I just remember If more fondly because I've watched it once in the theater and I liked it, and I watched it once on a plane and I liked it.
And I think that like Inside Out 2 is too generic. It kind of doesn't.
That's
do
another
anything.
thing. It is like really generic. It's just such an average movie. They weren't daring
Yeah.
enough to really do that much.
Beck, you
It's
know
like
all
they-
about generic movies, right?
Yeah.
I'm just
It
fucking
just, like,
stunned
it-
right now.
It's just like it's like they don't
Just
really do
dying,
anything
man.
like really that interesting. I feel like they I don't like the way they use anxiety in the movie that much. It was like
Yeah.
just kind of a repeat of the first one and a lot of ass. And it was just like it just did not have the emotional core that I felt in the first one. Because that's like Aiden said
The
this
whole
before,
point
like
of the movie.
like the thing she leaves like on a bus, and that's like that's important. It like changes like kind of her life. And this one she's just like at a camp or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But
But
yeah.
you look like you're hemorrhaging right now.
So that's about
Dude,
it. So
I'm
now
just-
do we talk
I'm
about
fucking
the
in
penguin?
disbelief.
So did we talk
Why
about
are you in
the penguin now?
disbelief, Beck? Why are you in disbelief?
Cannot believe you guys fucking.
Okay, Beck, I understand that you're like you never grew up, so you like these type of movies, but like let's take it back a notch.
I
So
also
next we
like
can
these
talk.
types of movies. I'm like pretty close in like movie taste to Beck when it comes to these kinds of movies.
Yeah.
So
But like
I
at
don't know.
least you can see that it's just an average movie. It's not amazing. It's not really worth watching 5 times.
Yeah, exactly.
So next we can talk about something better, which is the penguin.
Okay, let's talk
Alright.
about the penguin. Okay, I want to start off.
Okay, yeah, you can. Or do you want me to start off because I?
I just want to start off by saying this. So, you guys, I know some of you guys don't seem like you like the penguin that much, but I know for me,
I would like to
okay.
explain.
I would also like to explain momentarily.
can I
Mine's
talk
faster.
first?
Mine's faster.
Alright.
I simply said I did not enjoy the penguin in the context of the original of the Batman.
That's what I was saying as well. No, that's why I said I don't. That's what my main thing is. I instantly started it. I'm like, this does not feel like the same Gotham at all. That was my first reason.
From
I was
my
like, this is
perspective
not
on
the
that
same
point,
Gotham.
from my perspective on that point, the fact that it is kind of a different Gotham because through the Batman we get sort of his perspective of like him as a vigilante, and this is a Gotham that we're with a character who grew up on the streets. It's a much more street level than Batman is, I think.
Man's the most street level character ever. What are you saying?
No, because
Well, I mean, like
but
you're seeing
because
like
of a
it from like
rich-
the perspective, yeah.
He's like a rich guy coming in, but this is a guy who's lived with it. Is my thing I'm saying. And I'm gonna agree. I'm inclined to agree with you on the thing. I did not care for him in the Penguin movie, in the Batman movie that much. I agree with that. But for me, I'm just gonna say this: a guy who, because this is more of a crime drama than a comic book show in regards, so that's why it really works for me. This show, but I can understand why it might not work for someone who focuses on more of the comic element of it. But then again,
That was also my main problem with the Batman. Was that it's so far away from its comic book origin.
It was more like my main issue is that I went in that I saw a good guy. Like I've been hearing good things about it. I saw a clip that was like, oh, this looks good. And that's what reminded me that I needed to watch it. So I started watching it. And the first thing, and like I have recently watched the Batman because I went with Aiden to watch the Batman on re-release. But I like remembered how the Batman was. And the first like 30 seconds, I'm like, this does not feel like the same Gotham at all. Like this feels like a completely different stuff. Like I did not, and that really put me off. And then like for the rest of it, the vibe was just so different compared to the Batman, and that's what threw me off so much. And even then, it's really
it did feel like an insanely different vibe.
How long is the episode again?
Like
an hour.
Yeah, I would say the first half of it, maybe even the first 40 minutes, is really slow in my opinion. And then once we finally get the context and like the world set up, then it starts to become a lot better.
For me, I go through like I can respect that perspective that it feels like very different and like it's kind of a different vibe. But for me, I kind of personally a little bit enjoy this more than the Batman itself because it's like usually in the perspectives of I don't know the Penguin, he's more of like a rich guy, but this is more of a low level kind of the Penguin. And what I liked about this kind of Penguin, it feels like if Tony Soprano was in Gotham, and it feels like
that is. I see a lot of that type of. I feel like I'm getting a lot of vibes. It's like very Godfather, very Sopranos vibes from this show.
And I love those sorts of stories. Of like,
and I get that. It's just like I was just so off put by it not being connected, like by it being so different from the original, like from what we've seen in this universe.
For me, I was kind of hooked as soon as he killed, spoiler warning, Alberto. For me, like as soon as he did that, it told me what the show was going to be.
I don't know. You know what else was really what else was really off-putting for me? The fucking Maserati commercial. Like half the episode was basically a commercial for Maserati.
You love cars.
But no one else gives a shit about cars, Nikola.
It is such a blatant product placement. It's insane. They didn't even try to hide it.
Nikola.
I know, but I don't know why. But this one stood out so much more to me because it literally felt like they interwove a commercial.
Car guys, Nikola.
Bro, the Penguin literally goes, "Yeah, it's brand new. It's actually plum, not purple. It comes with an all new, brand new leather interior that matches the outside of the car, and it has." And he just starts listing off the specs of the car like he's the dealer. Like, what the fuck?
I'm gonna say, I think if I think you can be in one of two camps here, where I'm gonna say. For me, I enjoyed it since he kills the guy.
I started enjoying it towards the end, and I knew I was going to enjoy it. I just like towards the beginning, I just was not vibing with it. It was just not great.
If you're a bit get some dissonance from the difference from the Batman, I can see why. So I'm gonna say, I know Beck and Aiden, if you should continue. If you didn't like vibe with it immediately, I think you should continue with the show because it seems like it's going to be something much more interesting.
No, I definitely see it's going to be really good.
Yeah, and it's pretty good. If you're not like a fan of like the crime drama element,
I would say it really picks up after he meets his mom. But that's like the very end. Has episode 2 come out yet? I haven't seen.
Yeah, it came out yesterday.
Oh, I see. It's every Sunday.
All right, I guess we can just talk about episode 1.
Okay.
And then we can do episode 2 and 3 next week.
Yeah, because I have not done 2 yet.
Well, yeah, wait, because we timed this so weirdly.
Yeah.
I mean, you could have
the filming dates. No. I mean, like when the episode was really supposed to be filmed, there was only 1 episode out. So if we talk about it this week, we can't talk about it next episode. So
true. That's a good, smart idea.
So episode 1, we got the Penguin,
and
his ass is not a penguin.
What's your opinion on him being named Oz Cobb? Because I think that's stupider than
I don't think that's that dumb. I think because like they want to portray that this is a lower level penguin, and Cobblepot is like a very like aristocratic kind of like connotation with that, and so I don't really mind it that much. I think it's like fine. I don't think it's like it doesn't really matter. It doesn't affect the show.
I mean, I just find it kind of stupid. I think you could have just kept the name. It's not like that out there.
Like yeah, I don't know, but it's like in terms of the show, it doesn't really matter. But I guess if you're a kind of a comic book nerd, you could care about that.
I mean, it's not even comic book nerd thing. I just think it's kind of dumb.
Okay, Aiden.
All right,
Uh,
Uri.
Yeah, but Beck,
Hmm.
did you watch the show?
I watched the first 30 minutes.
And you weren't engaged?
I wanna explain what happened.
You
So
wanna explain it.
Uri keeps telling me watch the show The Penguin.
I liked it.
Yeah. But the thing is, I had to finish Attack on Titan.
Oh my
So
god.
let's transition to Attack on Titan.
No, we're not talking about Attack on Titan.
We're not talking about it today. Come on, no.
We're not talking about
I
it.
guess we have to move it to next week for the 4th week in a row.
Hey, that's just how it be, Beck.
You know
okay?
what? Fine, Beck. You have
No,
you need a
we're,
timer?
no, it's
5
actually
minutes.
we're
Oh,
moving
it's
it to
5
next
minutes?
week.
It's 5
We're
minutes. I
already
like
gonna
that.
like break the record.
No, but Beck, you can talk about it for the next 5 minutes, and you'll never talk about it again.
No,
That guys. It sounds like a fair deal, right?
that
I
is
like
not
that.
a fair fucking.
Beck, you got
We're
5
saving
minutes.
Attack on Titan for next week.
No. Okay, but I think you if you didn't like it, Beck, I think you should probably continue with it. It seems to be pretty engaging, at least from my aspect.
I'm
And-
at the part where he's at the house, and then the insane sister, walks in and is like, "Hello."
Yeah,
Hi.
she's a really good part of the show for me in that regard. She seems like she's
Mm.
gonna be really, really engaging, and she seems like a very kind of a pretty interesting character. They build more on her story in the next episode. But there's not much now to say. I'm just gonna say, I just continue with the show. If it's very more geared towards people more of a crime drama element, which was also the Batman. But yeah, I don't know. If you're more interested in that world, I would suggest people can watch it. Next thing, Nikola, is there any more things you have?
That's all the stuff I've watched. So I'm gonna go grab dinner. I'll be back.
All right. Does anyone have singles before we go into the group ones?
I do.
I'll say something.
Okay,
do it
yeah, we can
first
do
week.
Uri, Aiden, and then me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh well, no, because mine kind of ties into Whiplash, so we'll do it last.
Okay.
I
Uri,
watched-
me, and then you.
Aiden, I'm sorry. I watched Beetlejuice without watching the original.
My
Okay.
goat. He's gonna back me up.
I was like, there's only a few movies and like this small independent theater I have. And I was like,
Yeah.
Beetlejuice, and it was at 3. I was like the only movie really available, and I was like, I'll watch it, and I really like Beetlejuice.
Thank you.
It's
At least
It's a
you
good-
liked it.
I
Beck.
Liked it.
Oh.
What are you trying to say? I didn't like it.
Hey, Uri gave it the same amount of stars as I did, so I'm on Uri's page. Okay.
yeah.
What you're saying? Because I gave it what, half a star less? That I fucking hate the film.
Beck,
I
you
fucking
gotta know-
hate Beetlejuice.
Beck, think about this in 100%. Half a star less is 10% less.
Yeah.
And that's
Okay, but our rating scales are also very different.
you have a fucked rating scale, Beck.
It is a fucked rating scale, buddy.
No, my rating scale is so good.
Nah.
But no, I really enjoy the movie. I think if I like this one, I would probably like the first one even more. I
The
assume.
first one is much better.
Which movie?
Yeah, but this one, Beetlejuice.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
And it was like a really fun, great time. I don't know why Beck kept thinking the handbook was an incantation book. They have like only one
It's a
incantation.
spell book.
It's
Oh
not a
my
spell book.
God.
Because if you've seen the first movie, you would know it is an instruction booklet.
They do spells that are in the
They
book.
don't.
They
It's an
open a trap door.
Yeah.
They opened the portal to the afterlife thingy.
Do you know what? Yeah. Do you want to know how you do that? You draw a door on the wall. It's not an incantation.
Oh
I
my
got
god!
Carolyn
Well, it's a
Purple Crayon level
spell.
shit here.
Oh my god!
What's a spell? Drawing a door on a wall.
Yes.
Oh, that's so spicy.
What the hell are you talking about? Drawing a
Anyway.
door on a wall is
Anyway,
not...
I really enjoyed
So
it. Like,
Aiden, you're saying if I draw a door on the wall right now, it'll open up without any magic?
You need to knock on it 3 times, and that's how it works. You don't.
Also
You
Then
wanna
I'm
know what-
casting the spell on the door.
You're not in the Beetlejuice world, Beck. You don't get it.
Anyway, I'm gonna say I really liked it. The one thing I do say about this movie is like they do build up like the bride of Beetlejuice for this whole movie, and then they kind of don't really do anything with her.
Yeah,
that
no,
much.
I know. That's also one of my
That's my,
problems.
like,
and then
one big
and
critique.
the beginning of the movie's kind of slow.
Yeah. And I'm gonna say the ending just kind of confused me. Like she then just gives birth to like a baby Beetlejuice, and then like was it a dream?
It was a joke.
It was
Yeah, I know it was a joke, but it was. I really enjoyed the movie for like the most part, and I quite liked it. So I'll say
it. It's a
Yeah,
good movie.
I watched peak Hunger Games movie, Catching Fire. Rewatch that. It's the best Hunger
Best
Games
one.
movie. I watched it with someone who was like, I only watched the first Hunger Games movie. I'm not going to watch the second one since it's going to ruin the first one. You have to watch.
That's
it.
fucked up.
It's the best one.
I've also only seen the first one, but that's not like out of anything. It was just that the first one was pretty good. I like the first one, and I just don't really have any reason to watch the other one.
So I watched this foreign movie called The Worst Person in the World. Like they were showing it like at my
It's
school.
the Uri biopic.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
And it's like it's a really weird movie. It's like this girl has like a boyfriend, but then she breaks up with her boyfriend and she starts dating someone else. And that seems like a very normal kind of plot, but the way they do it, like they do it in like 12 chapters, and like there's a chapter where she does mushrooms and then she imagines herself as like an old lady and she breastfeeds.
So it is Uri.
Yeah. It's a really weird movie. It was quite enjoyable. It's like a study of kind of like the human condition, that aspect, but it was a really interesting movie. And anything else? Do you want to talk about Back to the Future and why I don't like Beck?
Yeah, let's talk about that right now.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah, let's talk about that.
All
Who
right,
likes
so
that guy.
Beck, you
Guys,
and
the
Uri,
Dunking on Aiden episode has turned into the Dunking on Beck episode.
Yeah, so
How does this always happen? It always turns into the Dunking on Beck episode.
Well, because your opinions are way worse than my
Oh
bad
my
opinions.
god.
What was the name of the last episode, Beck?
We can't let Beck
Nikola
continue
going
on.
like this.
Yeah, so Beck and Uri both, out of the blue, on accident, coincidentally, both watched Back to the Future, the first one, within
I had
hours
to
of
for
each
a
other.
class.
I
Beck
watched
had
it
to-
kind of
Right.
like randomly.
Uri watched it
Ah.
randomly. Now, it was not your first time seeing this movie, either
No.
of you, right?
No.
So it was a
Beck,
rewatch.
was
for
it your
both of you.
first time?
No, second.
Now, so I would give the movie 4.5 stars.
Yeah, that's
It's
fair.
an amazingly good time travel movie. Uri, what did you give it?
I gave it. I think I gave
You
it
gave it 4.5.
gave it
I
4.5.
just pulled up.
4.5. Yeah, I gave it 4.5. It's like I love this trilogy of movies, especially the first two, but really the first one. It's like
Yeah.
it's the originator of all time travel movies
I know.
forever. And
Exactly.
So it's the originator. It's like it's a classic formula, but they do it so well in this movie. It's just like it's such a great movie, a great idea. It's like nothing before this has really been done in time travel aspect. It's just it's an
Exactly. At that point in time,
yeah.
definitely.
I
And
guess
it's
maybe you
like-
could, yeah.
It
With
sets the
context of-
groundwork for everything. Is it a little outdated? Sure.
Sure.
Is the incest thing weird? Sure.
Is the rape weird?
Definitely.
Definitely.
But also, it's a movie from the 80s. That's kind of what you're going to have to expect, and you're going to have to ignore it.
Yeah.
But
And-
it's just a great movie though.
I think it's like plot wise, I think like for it being the first time travel movie, the time travel is pretty tight.
Yeah, like there's like probably a few things you can like kind of like
Yeah.
proposal, but they do
Why
a lot of
is he the
interesting.
last one to disappear if he's the third child?
For
Huh?
movie convenience, Beck, okay? Suspend
You
your
have to
disbelief
Beck,
a
but
little bit.
But did you know that?
Okay, well,
but
later in the
did
episode,
you-
I'm gonna get into dumbass suspension of belief for another time travel movie.
But
Well, I'm gonna
Beck,
get him into it for a different movie also.
Beck, but you know what's really cool? In the movie, they show like Twin Pines Mall, and then he runs
then
over a
Lone
pine. It's
Pine Mall,
Lone
yeah.
Pine.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah,
kind of weird why you name a
the
mall
person I was
after some
watching
pines,
with pointed
but
that out. Yeah,
yeah,
it was called like the Lone Pine Ranch, or
yeah.
yeah.
I'm like, let's name it
named
after
them
a
all.
ranch. Imagine that guy like, my pine is gone. I guess I have to not grow it again. I guess I'll just make a.
Yeah, but
Called
it makes
Lone-
for a really cool
it-
detail.
It's very cool detail.
And I also think like the wraparound of like Doc was never really dead, but he just comes back to the same time he was. I think that whole sequence is really like a good cap, especially the entire clock tower sequence is
That's
an amazing
It's a thrilling
thing.
sequence.
It's a
Yeah,
thrilling
very
sequence.
tense.
Beck, and what do you think about the implication that by having
the
this new
implication?
timeline, he doesn't have his old family more, and that's kind of dark, isn't it?
It is a very dark conceptual movie. It definitely is.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how time travel works.
yeah. So Beck, hearing after this content, do you feel like you can change your rating?
And now, what did
Uh,
Beck? What did you rate it? We gave it a 9 out of
3 and
10.
a
You
half.
gave it
3.5.
a 7 out of 10
70?
for
A
one of the
7.
most amazing time travel movies. Beck loves time
Okay.
travel too.
Yeah.
Time.
Now-
Yeah.
Now, Beck, when I saw that you reviewed this, what was the first thing, your first critique that you told me? Because I'd love Uri to hear it.
Okay, I would like to say
What
is
was your
I
no-
watched the original trilogy like a couple years ago.
Okay.
And
What? This
even
is
then,
unimportant context.
no, it is important context. And then even back then, I'm like, all these movies feel the same and they feel generic, you know?
They do not.
Like
okay.
they're just repeating
on.
the same plot lines over and over again. And I'm
No.
like, I've already seen this before.
The first one is he has to go back to the future. Original
Yeah.
concept. Second movie, he goes back to the past. But he has to go back to the past. But then he does. And then he has to fix it. Because that's the big problem. It's not getting back to the past. It's actually, uh-oh, I screwed up. I need to fix this now. And it's different. It is different. The third one, sure, is kind of like the first
Yeah.
one.
Yeah.
But
I'm also just
it
thinking of
is-
the third one right now. I forgot a lot about 2.
But Beck, you can't judge this movie based on the other movies. You just gotta judge it for its own.
Yeah, well,
movie.
I just want to say that's what I was going into.
But
It's
also,
saying us.
Zach,
Yeah.
you said, this is what you said to me. You said that it was a
Yeah.
generic movie,
Yes, it felt pretty generic.
which is an insane take for it
Now-
being the first quintessential time travel movie that set the groundwork for
Now-
everything else moving forward.
Okay, Aiden, let's say I give you 8 rom-coms
Mm-hmm.
and like 7 of them are like the highest rated rom-coms, and then one of them is the first rom-com that ever came out. You wouldn't automatically say, yeah, this one's the best one because it came out first.
Now, here's the thing though. What you're comparing is oranges to apples because rom-coms have existed since like the
I'm just saying
1910s.
genre-wise.
Sure, but also these are still apples to oranges. Like, what would you say are like compared to Back to the Future, the like good non-generic time travel movies?
What do you consider time travel?
What do you consider time travel?
Because like you can consider time travel as in like a very broad concept that includes
Back-
like
You can answer my question.
I'm gonna say this. This is my perception of
Groundhog's Day.
And yeah, that's a great movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it's as good as Back to the Future though.
I think it's more creative.
Yeah, because
I-
you're
the time loop is way more creative than time travel. Because time travel, you're stuck with the same fucking. Did everything happen again, or did it change the timeline? It's one of two things. It's so stupid.
It is not one of
Blah,
two
blah,
things.
blah.
It is one of many
Oh,
different.
When
options.
you,
It's
Beck, the
either
thing
you
is-
can change the timeline or it all already happened. Those are the two ways it happens.
Like, I'm surprised you're not saying Groundhog's Day is generic because that was also the first of its kind making the
Yeah.
time travel movies. The same way Back to the Future that was the first of that type of time travel. You know?
So
Exactly.
maybe I just fuck with Groundhog's Day, okay?
No, you fuck
I
with
can-
time loops. You
I
like
do
the
fuck with
concept-
time loops,
Yeah, you like the concept better.
Yeah.
I
which
would
I'm
say
gonna talk about
execution
next
is-
week with Life is Strange, baby.
Wow. Okay, so what other movies would you to be better time travel movies that aren't generic?
Looper is really good. I like Looper.
Oh yeah.
That's pretty good.
Palm Springs.
That's
really love
time loop.
Palm
That's
Time
just
loop
another
game.
time loop.
Another
Hey,
time
do
loop
you?
game.
Yeah. What do you want? Because do you consider time travel like the big thing, and then time loops are a subcategory of that, or do you consider them different genres?
They're not different genres, but time loop is a fundamentally different thing than
Yeah.
time travel, I think.
There's
Okay,
also,
yeah.
and then there's other versions of little time travel.
Descendants: Rise of Red.
Yeah,
You
see,
like that movie?
This is where we're losing the plot now.
You just
There's
don't have
time
an argument.
travel in that movie, Aiden.
There's time travel in goddamn every single movie back. All right.
There's time travel. in
You're
fucking
losing your
Fortnite, Zach.
argument as soon
Now
as you
I'm
speak.
winning. My old ass.
Yeah, I thought that movie was amazing.
Does that have time travel?
Yeah.
Not
I haven't
really.
seen it.
Oh my god, you can't not consider that time travel.
I'm
Someone
not.
from the future going into the past and interacting with their past self. Yeah, that's
but
not
no,
fucking time
it's
travel.
not a time travel.
No.
No, I'm not saying it's not time travel. I'm saying it's not a time travel movie.
Wait,
That is a coming of age rom com back.
Oh.
so let's get into My Old Ass. Now, I haven't seen this movie. I want to see this movie, but for me, from the trailers, it seemed like it's more in her head when she sees the older version. Am I wrong?
It's not, and
It's
it's
not.
very confusing.
It's
Oh,
very
okay.
confusing. They don't elaborate on it, but it's okay because she's only there for like 10 minutes of the runtime.
Mm.
What were we talking about?
My old
The
ass.
future. Oh, we're doing My Old Ass.
Well,
Yeah.
unless you have
Okay.
concluding thoughts on Back to the Future.
It's a good movie. A 7 out of 10 is a really good rating for me. I really like the movie. I don't
That's
want
a
this
C.
narrative that I don't go by the US education system, Uri.
Okay, let's talk about My Old Ass.
All right.
So how
my
was
old
it?
ass.
Okay. I watched this first, but
Or- yeah,
Aiden
you
gave
did
it a
watch
higher
first.
rating.
I
So
did
I'll
give it
let
a higher
Aiden
rating.
talk about it.
So, My Old Ass is about this girl named Elliot. She is in Canada, the like outskirts of Canada. Why are you
Wait,
looking
she's
like
in
that?
Canada?
Are you dumb?
Wait, when
is
did they
this-
say they're in Canada?
She's moving to Toronto, dude. They say
You
the
can-
city. They say
You can-
sorry. They say sorry and A.
You-
They live in
Oh
Canada,
my-
dude.
It
She
can
wears-
be Michigan, bro.
It's Canada. Okay. It's Canada.
Bro,
they are
you're-
Canadian. They have
Okay,
Canadian
a
accent
vague
and dialect.
northern city
They live in Canada. They live in Canada.
that has a
It is-
lake.
It is in Canada. They live in Canada, in the outskirts of Canada. Elliot, she is moving in 22 days to go to Toronto, and she's saying goodbye to her family and friends, and she doesn't like saying goodbyes, and she wants to get with this one girl because she's a lesbian. And so she's like, wow, this is so cool. And then she goes to the woods with her friends and does some mushrooms, just like Uri would. And then she has a trip, and during her trip, she sees 39-year-old her. And they're like, whoa, 39-year-old me, that's crazy. And then she's like, hey, I'm here to give you some life advice. And then she doesn't give her any life advice other than hang out with your family and stay away from Chad. She's like, who the hell is Chad? Okay, so then she goes and hangs out with her family, and she also meets Chad. And she's like, hey, why is Chad so bad? But also at this point, she's put the old version of her has put her number into her phone, so she can call her into the future, which is a concept that I really like, and is something that I've been trying to like figure out within an own plot script of mine.
It makes no fucking sense. The
But
one
it's
thing
great. I love it.
The one thing I said to Aiden before this movie is do not try to understand the time travel. because
I
it
didn't
makes
bother
no
trying to
sense.
understand it because I was having a blast. So she meets Chad and she's like, calls her old self. She's like, hey, I met Chad. What's wrong with him? She's like, don't date Chad. Don't do it, please. And then she goes MIA and she's like, uh-oh. And so we get a nice coming of age story where she's trying to follow the advice of her old self, but then she's gone. So then she's just freestyling it. And then she falls in love with Chad and she's like, wow, I thought I was gay, but I'm actually bi. And then she falls in love with Chad and she's like, wow, this is great. And then her old ass shows up again. She's like, hey, were you dating Chad? Were you doing it? She's like, yeah, I was. But what was the problem with that? She's like, because Chad dies and I don't want you to go through the heartbreak that I had to go through. And then Chad comes back and the old Chad could see old ass and they hug it out and everything's great. And the movie ends and it's perfect. It's great. And I think it had great messaging based on saying goodbyes, the present, the future, and the past, letting go. Amazing movie. Really clicked with me. This is my DD, second best movie of the year. And
And it had a
This is your
Justin
DD?
Bieber musical number.
yeah, it did have that. It did have that.
Fire
and
scene.
It did have
This is your
lesbian
DD?
kissing. No, my
No.
DD. This is the movie that connected with me like it did for you guys with DD.
I didn't know, Aiden, you had an older version of yourself helping you.
I don't actually.
downfall of Grady.
Her name is Elliot, not Aiden. So
Big difference
Uh,
there.
the only things I didn't like about this movie, I think that Aubrey Plaza's character, the old ass, should have been in it a little more. She was barely in it. 2, I do think they should have made out more. They didn't do it, and that's all that
Where
Beck
was
said.
the 2-hour sex?
That's what Beck said in his review, and I really wanted to agree with him, and I did agree with him. Number 3, they showed me 1 second of Greta Gerwig's Little Women, and that's why I took the
Yeah,
half star.
that was a funny bit because it was the girl's younger brother has a giant crush on the girl from Little Women.
Yeah, and I
And
didn't
just
like
has
that.
like a giant collage poster of pictures of her just on the wall.
Yeah, and I didn't like that part. So
Yeah, because you just
that's
fucking
why the-
hate Little Women.
That's why the half star is off. But I thought it was a great movie. I thought the acting was amazing. I thought the chemistry between all the characters was really good. The messaging was really amazing. This movie just clicked with me.
Yeah, the problem that I had with it is like I tried suspension of disbelief, but I felt like it was trying to take itself so seriously with these like dramatic moments, but it was hard to when I was like just I couldn't like take it seriously because of how stupid the time travel was.
Yeah, so let me talk about Whiplash because that's my main problem with Whiplash.
Okay. Give me a sec. Like literally, the way they time travel
All right.
first is by doing mushroom tea.
And that's funny. It's a
And
funny
like,
it's a funny thing.
yeah. And like that makes sense. Like you're like, okay, well,
Yeah.
she's just really high and she's imagining her older self. But no, turns out the future version of herself can smoke 3 bags of weed and travel back in time to the first Thanksgiving.
To take turkeys off the menu.
What?
It's
Yeah.
all connected. It's all connected.
So,
Why does every time
and then
travel
she's
become
now a
Boston turkey?
physical being in the world. And I was just so confused the entire time.
It doesn't
Now-
really have to make sense. I don't think.
I think you're overthinking it a bit, Beck.
I think
I
you're definitely
am,
overthinking
but it also like that's kind of what I do.
That's what he does, I guess.
What I do.
I thought it was great. Uri, I would highly recommend watching it if you
I
can.
want to. I'm gonna. Guys, this is on my watch. Megalopolis, but I don't know. Maybe
Please,
after hearing your.
Please watch Megalopolis. I want to watch it again, but I hated it.
Dude, I really want it to stay in theaters until Thanksgiving because a Celsius Megalopolis watch party would go crazy.
I think it probably will, but maybe I don't know.
Do we have more individual things before we keep talking about?
I have individual things.
I also have one more individual thing.
Well, okay, let's savor Whiplash for the
Well,
end.
it's not Whiplash. It's actually High School Musical.
Okay, we can do.
Why'd you watch High School
Musical.
Musical, Aiden?
It's fire.
Because it is fire. Beck, you haven't
Beck,
seen
you haven't
High School
seen it.
Musical.
I've seen it. What is this narrative that I haven't seen High School Musical?
I thought you
I've
haven't
seen
seen
High School Musical.
I think you
I
just watched the
swore you had.
series.
I've
shitty
seen High School Musical, parts of 2 and parts of 3, but I've seen 1 all the way through.
Okay, well, I rewatched 1 all the way through because there's this YouTube channel called Bad Lip Reading. Are we familiar with the
Yes.
YouTube channel? All right, so they have a High School Musical video, and I wanted to watch the movie, and then I rewatched the video. The video is funny as shit. The movie is amazing as hell. I gave it 5 stars. It's a great.
Wow, that's
a
kind of
great
crazy.
movie.
That's kind of crazy.
I think it's an amazing movie for exactly what it is. For a
Okay.
early 2000s Disney Channel original movie starring Zac Efron
I
and
got to
Vanessa
rewatch
Hudgens.
this. I got to
I
rewatch
thought
it.
I was having a blast the whole time. The music's amazing. Like just like the plot is pretty not. It's not like the most outlandish, and there's very little that I was like, okay, that's unrealistic. It kind of makes sense, and it kind of has to for the plot to move forward. But it's really great, I think.
Okay, Aiden. Now,
Yeah.
I have a recommendation for you. It's a mockumentary
Now,
about
see,
a group
Beck,
of
now,
high
hang on.
schoolers.
No, hang on. Let me finish the second movie, the third movie, Sharpay's movie, and then I'll get to High School Musical.
You watched all of them?
No, I said once I do that,
Oh,
then
once you
I
do
will
that.
start High School Musical, the series.
Aiden, if you
This
want
is
to
why
call me,
I'm
I'm
watching
so
this.
down to watch it like on call with you.
This is why I'm watching them, so I can start High School Musical, the series.
Musical, the series,
The arc.
yes.
This is the
think-
High School Musical, the musical, the arc.
This is the High School
Yeah.
Musical arc.
Well,
Yes.
continue, Aiden.
Well, that's pretty much what I have to say. I think High School Musical is an
I'm
amazing movie.
so excited. I'm so excited for Aiden right now.
Like it's definitely like a overrated movie, but I think it's really funny and it's really good.
I'll be right back. Someone talk about
I'll
something.
do my single stuff.
Yeah, talk about your single stuff.
Because a lot of this stuff doesn't matter.
Yeah.
So, A Fish Called Wanda. Aiden, do you know
Wow.
this movie?
I've seen the beginning of it, but I don't really remember.
Okay, it's like a Monty Python movie, and
Oh, is it?
I watched it with a lot of people in a common room, and we
Yeah.
were dying the entire time. It was insanely funny.
Great.
I
So
recommend you watch it with a big group of people.
I will watch
there's
it
like-
by myself.
There's like a really funny bit. There's so many random, really funny bits throughout the movie.
Yeah, I mean, I like Monty Python. At least Holy Grail is my next guy. I'm a big fan of slapstick parody. I'm a big Airplane fan. I like Naked Gun. Kung Pao Enter the Fist is exactly that type of movie.
Okay. Next thing I watched, Spider-Verse, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
You did rewatch Spider-Man
Yeah.
Across the Spider-Verse.
What was
I did-
really cool about this was at like literally my school's theater, they were doing a Spider-Verse live in concert.
Yeah,
so
you did
it
do
was
that.
so it was like me, like I got a front row thing because it was like rush tickets for like $30.
Yeah.
And I just got it, and it was insanely cool. They like played the score, and then like it was loud, and the movie was also amazing. And you
Yeah.
just had people randomly cheering whenever something happened in the movie. Yeah. Yeah, so that was really cool. I want to try to do more of those like in concert things. I found it really fun.
Nice.
They do have one for Avatar: The Last Airbender, and I want to go to that, but they have completely sold out of tickets, which sucks.
That does suck.
You should kill yourself now.
Okay. Next thing, Wall Street. I had to watch this one for
not the Wolf of
class.
Wall Street.
It was not The Wolf of Wall Street, as Nikola pointed out.
Wow.
It was a good movie. It kind of felt like the same guy gets corrupted into becoming a evil business guy kind of plot, but it was still really good. Other thing I watched, I also had to watch this for class. It was The Princess Bride.
Like, oh, The Princess
Like-
Bride?
Like Aiden.
Wow.
He loves that movie. And I also really like the movie. It was insanely funny the entire time. It was great again on a rewatch. Yeah, insanely good.
Sweet.
Okay, that's all my single stuff.
I actually forgot about a movie that I watched, and I should probably talk about it.
What
What
did you
movie,
watch,
Aiden?
Aiden?
Okay, Uri's back. I'm glad because it was a horror that I think kind of wanted to watch.
Oh,
I watched the new Blumhouse film Speak No Evil.
Ooh, we've seen this trailer so many times during the summer.
Yeah. So you know how the movie seems pretty good, right? Like pretty, or
It seems
you know?
fine. It's like a remake of a Swedish or something version.
Yeah. So here's
it's
the
a
thing.
remake?
Yeah. So you've
didn't
seen the
know that.
trailer, right?
Yeah, we've all
Oh,
seen
no,
the
no, no!
trailer.
I haven't seen the trailer. What's
Okay,
it
so the
about?
trailer is
Michael, you
actually
should play the
filled.
trailer right now for all of us.
Yeah,
The
no, I
tra-
feel like you should play it before every movie I've been to for the past 3 months.
So the trailer actually contains the entire last 30 minutes of the movie. So let me explain the very, very basic outline of this movie. We're gonna call them good husband, good wife, daughter, bad husband, bad wife, boy.
Boy.
All right.
Got it.
So the good family and the daughter, they go on vacation to Italy, and like they're there having a good time. And the bad family with their boy, they're also there, and they click and they have a great time together. But they're a little weird. They're a little weird, and then they invite them to go on a vacation at their farm in the middle of nowhere. And they're like, "Sure, why the hell not? I'm in between jobs right now. Let's go." So then they go, and then the family is nice, but they're a little weird, and they're like,
Oh, it's this movie. I know
maybe
exactly.
maybe we should leave. No, they're nice. Let's stay. So then something else weird happens. I think we should leave. Hey, they're nice. Let's stay. And then the third weird thing happens where the daughter is in the same bed as the bad family. And the mom is like, all right, that's enough. We're leaving. So then they leave. But they actually forgot the daughter's emotional stress rabbit. So then
Oh
they
my
go
fucking
back.
god, man.
No.
And then so then
You
they
can
go
buy
back,
another
and then
rabbit.
they're back, and the bad family's like, "Oh, we're sorry. It was just because we had a miscarriage, and I wanted a daughter. We'll stay." And then more weird things happen, and that's weird. And the whole time, the boy has no tongue and is trying to get the daughter to follow him and follow his instructions, but she's stupid and he's 5, so it doesn't happen. So then it does happen where the boy steals his father's keys after he gets beat so the daughter and the boy do a dance to I am not
Cotton Eye
kidding
Joe.
Cotton Eye Joe.
So
And
we
it
see
was
the trailer.
and it was the funniest thing ever because
Cotton Eye
I didn't
Joe?
realize it was in the movie. And the dad got so mad, he was like, "You need to dance on time." Ah! And he threw things at
Not
his
quite
son.
my tempo.
And the good family was like, "Wow, don't throw things at your kid." And the dad was like, "Oh, I'm so drunk, I'm gonna go take a nap." So then he took a nap. And the boy, I forgot, the boy's name is Art. That's a really dumb name. So Art, he steals the keys off of his dad's belt, and he
For
takes
Arthur,
the girl.
right?
Huh?
Isn't it for Arthur?
Who the hell knows? So then the boy takes the girl to a dungeon, and he points at things. And here's the plot twist. The plot twist happens when there's 30 minutes left in the movie. Nothing scary or outright disturbing has happened yet. It's just been a weird, eccentric family, pretty much, who beats their child, which is normal, I think.
Yeah. I mean, that's Nicola's family.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. But then the boy is like, "Hey, look at all this stuff. This is all the stuff from the families that this family has murdered. And hey, look at this photo. Every time they murder a family, they steal their child and kill the old. Here's my family. They're dead now. But look, this was the person before me, and that was the person before them, and all down the line. And they just keep killing people and stealing their child.
What a
And the
weird
daughter-
ritual.
It's a weird thing that they do. And
Yeah,
the daughter's
that's
like,
those quirky Italians, guys.
yeah, and then the daughter's like, ah, so she fakes her period so she can get her mom to go and be like, "Hey, look at these photos I took. They're gonna kill us." And she's like, let's go get your dad. And he's like, "Hey, dad, she's having her period. Can you come help?" He's like, okay. So then he goes in there and they're like, all right, guys, we got to pretend like nothing's wrong. You know the scene from the trailer?
Yeah.
Yeah, so that happens in the last like 20, 25 minutes
When
of
did
the
he
movie.
do this?
He does that in like he does that pretty early on, but it doesn't mean anything because the dad is like, "Hey, Art, don't do that. That's weird." So then they're like, "All right, we gotta pretend like nothing's wrong," and the daughter's like, "But we gotta get Art out of here." And then they're like, "All right, we'll get him out. Let's go." So then they're like, "All right, we're leaving," and it's like, "All right, great. Thanks for coming to visit us. Bye." So they all go outside, and they're like, "Oh no, your tire is slashed. Let me fix that for you."
Oh.
So then he fixes the tire, and then they almost leave again, and they're like, "All right, we're leaving," and then it's like, "Uh-oh, the emotional stress rabbit. Art, did you throw it on the roof? Don't worry, I'll hold the ladder." And so he climbs the ladder, and then the guy is shaking, the bad dad shakes the ladder. He's like, "Oh, don't fall." And then he gets it, he climbs down, and they're like, "Great, we have the rabbit now." And then they leave. And then they're like, "Oh no, but what about Art?" And then the dad throws him in the lake. Art can't swim. So the dad stops the car, gets out of the car, saves Art, and then his family is held hostage at gunpoint. So then they're brought into a second into like a not a basement, but like the garage or
Sub-basement.
out the garage, the tool shed. And he's like, "All right, you guys are all tied up. Transfer all of your money to us. That's how we live because I'm not a doctor. I lied about it 2 times. I lied about being a doctor 2 times."
I'm
And
not a doctor. I know it's on a trailer.
Dr.
Yeah.
House?
and so they steal their money and they're like, "All right, we're gonna kill all of you, daughter. We're gonna cut her tongue off. Here's some ketamine. Here's a
Nice.
thing
So
of
real.
ketamine." And then the mom actually has a razor blade in her pocket. She stole it from the bathroom and she goes, slice, and she slices his eye. And then the bad mom forgets to shoot him. And then they escape and the daughter grabs the ketamine and then they run inside. They grab the gun that the wife was holding. So they have a gun with one shot in it. And then they round the corner and they're like, "Let's go." And then Mike, the chef, shows up and he also has a gun and he shoots it. And so they decide the best course
Who's
of
Mike the chef?
he was there for like 30 seconds earlier.
Not Mike the chef.
You randomly, yeah. And then there's Mike the chef. He comes back.
Yeah, I don't know why he came back. He didn't have to come back. But he also has a gun and he shoots at them because he's also in on it somehow. And the wife is also like, "Please take me with you. I was his first," which is the most unsurprising thing that's ever come out of this movie. And so then they hide inside the house and they're like, "We'll be safe in the house where they live. They have guns." And so now they're in the house and then they do things in the house like put acid in the guy's eye or hit Mike with a hammer, or push and then climb out onto almost fall off the roof and then push the lady off the roof, bad mom off the roof. She dies. And then the dad is like, "All right, she's dead. I'm gonna jump off the roof so I can get the ladder." And then he jumps off the roof and lives because it's different this time. So he puts the ladder up. They all climb down. By the way, they have missed 3 separate guns that have fallen to the ground with ammunition in them. They have no weapons on them fighting these 3 people with guns, and they have left 3 of them just lying on the floor.
Well, Chekhov's gun doesn't need to be fired, you know?
Yeah.
Especially if there are 3 of them.
I guess so. And then they all climb down the ladder, and the dad is like, "All right, daughter, you're gonna go run to the car by yourself while I wait with your mom." That's a great idea, isn't it? And then, guys, guess what? Bad dad took the daughter. He's like, "I'm not gonna kill the daughter. I want the daughter. She's gonna live with me now." And then she has the ketamine and goes, "Kwa!" And then he falls asleep. And then Art comes with the rock and he goes, bang, 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 and he kills dad. And then they drive away, and that's the end of the
Art?
Yeah.
Art kills him. Yeah, the dad
How
didn't
does
do
a
it.
5-year-old have that strength?
It's a great question. It's a great question. And also, they are creepy, right? But they also set the dad up by him being like, "Hey, I do hunt. but I don't like the killing part. I just like the hunting part. Once it's in the reticle, then I'm okay. Then why did he kill them? He had no reason to do that. He literally said earlier that I don't like that part.
It seems like an okay horror movie with a few contrivances plot wise, and you know.
I mean, it was just kind of like nothing's happening. I came in for a scary movie, but nothing happens until like the last 30 minutes when the big plot is revealed. I like the plot twist. There's a little, it has like the, oh, okay, they murder people, but then it has the extra like, and they kidnap children, and they're pedophiles too, which is all great and dandy and good.
Pedophiles.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that. The dad is a pedophile.
Makes sense.
But overall, all right movie. And then I looked up what the differences between the original and the new one are. Mostly the ending. Turns out the ending, the good family all dies, Art dies, and they steal the daughter and cut off her tongue.
That kind of sounds more original.
That's
Yeah,
darker and
it is
sadder.
darker and sadder and sounds more depressing. And I'm glad I didn't watch that one. And also, it's Danish.
We hate the Danish.
Which is really funny because they make fun of Danish people in the remake.
You know, like
Based.
a Danish person could never make a certain set of circumstances like
Exactly,
this.
Exactly. A movie.
Would you recommend it to watch or a more
higher
streaming?
than The Substance, I am putting that down.
You gave it like 2 stars, right?
I gave it 3 stars.
I don't know, guys. I think
I'm
our standard of watching movies in theaters has significantly decreased. Because we watch any movie in theaters in the summer. But now that with the advent of me being stuck with more schoolwork, my quality of watching in theater has risen a bit.
Mine definitely rose. I only saw 3 bad movies, or like 3 movies this week, and then like 4 really good ones.
I would say mine has kind of stayed the same, but also just like there's been a lot of good movies.
Am I racist? You watched?
Okay, yeah, that brought it down a ton.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
okay.
Any more single stuff, Aiden?
That's all I have.
Let's talk about Transformers 1. Beck and Aiden. I did not watch this movie, but it looked terrible. It looked terrible from the trailers.
So right. It looked so generic, and I kind of went into it. Well, no, up until it actually came out, I was fully expecting.
Nightwing, my finger can't transform. Guess which one?
No, that's a funny bit. That's a really funny one.
It's really good.
And he says, "I can transform," and then just starts running away.
Dude, that was the funniest 5 minutes of the
That's
movie.
literally just JoJo. That was a JoJo reference.
He literally was like, "Oh yeah, I can transform."
And
It's just hard cut. The
He
movie.
ran.
Okay, let's actually get into the movie. Beck, do you want to explain it a little bit?
Yes. So we have Orion Pax.
Yeah.
And he is like a miner. And
That it never gets not funny.
And all the citizens here, like they love the miners.
What?
So all the citizens
that
love
every
the
time. I forgot about
miners.
that.
It never gets not funny.
So, so he's a miner, and his other friend's a miner.
His other friend
And they-
D16.
D16, and then they're mining, and then Orion is like, let's compete in this race for Transformers, but they're like, but we're not Transformers, we don't have the Transformer core things. Also, there was this thing called the Medallion of God.
That's not what it was called.
The Medallion of God makes
The Medallion of God.
So the Medallion of God makes Energon, but it disappeared when they had this war with a bunch of other people, and they also lost all their primes, which are like really impressive fighter robots, except for one guy, which was Fentanyl Crimes.
His name was not Fentanyl Crimes.
I think his name was Sentinel Prime, but okay.
His name was Sentinel Prime.
He's like a well-known Transformers character.
Yeah.
So this guy,
This guy,
we
fentanyl.
find out
crime.
he's evil. He's been smuggling the Fent / Energon to the evil aliens. And he
You
worked
are
with them and he
skipping ahead
killed all the
so hard.
primes. So they go compete in the race, but Nightwing from Batman hates them and throws them down a pit.
Not Nightwing, dude.
So Nightwing throws them down the pit, and then they meet Yang and Blake from Ruby, and they're like
Okay.
chilling in the basement.
I'm not. We're not letting you explain this movie anymore.
No,
They get-
I think I got this.
They meet Bumblebee, and he's like, "Hey guys, I'm your typical comedic relief Keegan Michael Key voiced character. Let's be friends." And then they're friends, and then they are. Let's go find the thing, because
Isn't
actually,
he like Loki like
The
isn't he
Medallion
Loki
of
unhinged
God.
in this movie though?
Yes,
Bumblebee?
Bumblebee.
Like
He's
he kills
funny.
like a lot of people.
He's funny.
He won't shut up, and it's like his funniest character.
My
trait.
favorite clip is the one where he just punches somebody.
Yeah, he does do that. So anyway, so they go to the surface because they're like, we have the map where that shows the Medallion of God.
The Medallion of God.
So let's go find it, and then they
Before
run into
there was time, there
and
was
then they run
the
into
cube.
they run into RC as well, and
And
she's
then
Scarlett
Megalodon is
Johansson.
like, I'm no longer saving you, and kills
We're
him.
not at the Megalodon stuff yet. That's way later in a different.
Yeah.
How long is this fucking movie?
Okay,
Well,
but
Beck
we know
explained it so
D16 is a big Megatron fan.
Yeah, he is a big no, Megatronus Prime. Okay, Beck,
Oh yeah, sorry.
because his name is Megatron.
This
Okay.
is why Transformers is so hard to understand.
It's the most basic ass concept.
The
dude.
Medallion of God, bro.
Okay, they go to the surface, they find where it is, and they find a different Prime. The Prime is like, hey, Sentinel Prime is lying to you. He actually took your cores. He actually lost the thing because only I can bless it upon somebody. And here's new cores for all of you. And then they can all transform. And it's like, wow, now we can transform. And then Sentinel Prime finds them and is like, all right, I'm going to hunt them down. So then they're trying to get back home, but they can drive this time. And then they get kidnapped by some bandits, and one of them is Steve Buscemi Starscream. And I was like, yo, Starscream? He's in this movie? That's crazy. And then D16 is like, all right, I'm gonna be evil now. That's the one thing.
I'm gonna beat you up.
That's the one problem I had with this movie. You know that D16 is gonna become Megatron, and they don't do a very amazing job
You mean
at
Megalodon?
segueing him
Megatron,
into.
it's Megalodon.
Shut up.
Yeah, I
No.
feel like you needed maybe a bit more time between like the reveal that Sentinel Prime is evil and the killing him fighting the Royal Guards.
Yeah, he kind of does just go from,
Yeah.
hey, D16, are you all right? He's like, yeah, I'm great. And then, I'm going to chain him up and drag him through the streets. And
Yeah, but
that's
his
what
eyes
he
turn red,
deserves.
that's how
And
you
then I
know.
will put him in a box and make him rot for eternity.
Okay, but his eyes turn red. That's how you know he's evil.
That's way
I-
later in the movie.
Oh.
I thought that was a good scene.
But anyway, they keep
Yeah.
doing things. They get kidnapped by Sentinel Prime, except for Orion Pax and
Scarlett Johansson.
and RC. And so then they get the bandits, and they're like, all right, let's go fight the bad guys. So then they go fight the bad guys, and they fight the bad guys,
And then D16 gets branded, and
and
I
he gets
think that's a
branded.
big setup in later movies.
It's
um,
just so he has the Decepticon symbol.
Okay, yeah.
This guy doesn't know anything.
I
This is
don't
guy's
know
never watched this.
Transformers
This
lore.
is Transformers lore. It's the main part of his design. Do you?
Dude,
Beck, this is like when we went to like TMNT together, and you said who's April. Okay, it's literally that.
I didn't say that.
You did say that. You did. Say
I did not say that.
You said you didn't know who April was.
No, because she was in the show.
You said you didn't know who April was when we. Saw
I
it.
knew you. I knew who April was.
All right, you didn't know one of the main characters.
I didn't know the main villain guy.
Okay, whatever.
I
Anyway,
didn't know Superfly.
all right, whatever. Anyway, so then D16 is like, all right, Sentinel, I'm gonna kill you. And then Orion is like, hey, we probably shouldn't do that. And then he gets
Can I
shot
change
instead.
your mind?
And then
Can I
he gets
change
shot
your
instead.
mind?
And D16 grabs his arm before he falls down the pit. And D16 is like, actually, I don't want to play with you anymore. And he lets go, and that's when his eyes turn red. And it is
No,
a
no, no,
really
no, no.
cool
It's
scene.
really cool because he like looks down,
And
and
then he
like
looks back up.
D16 looks down, and then Megatron looks up. I thought that was
So
cool.
fucking corny. It's insane.
No, but it is actually sick
Yeah,
as hell.
I know.
And
Yeah.
and the effects they have for his eyes, where it like stays in place for a second while it follows him around, was a really cool effect that no movie really ever does.
Yeah.
But Orion Pax falls down a hole, and then all the Prime goes like, "Ah, you're actually the righteous one. Here's the medallion of the gods. You are Optimus Prime."
Optimus
And then he
Prime.
goes, and then they do a big fight scene, and it's really cool. And then he's like, "Megatron, get the hell out of here!" And then he's like, "All right, we're gonna reform Cybertron." And Bumblebee's like, "I get to work for the government." And then the movie ends.
It seems like a more lively version than the other Transformer movies that we usually get, like, or so like dull. But this is more colorful.
Oh, it's so much more colorful, but it's like it's darker, like conceptually darker.
Okay, yeah. Explain to me how I'm supposed to notice the Decepticon logo on CGI Michael Bay Transformers.
Do you know what Megatron looks like?
No, he doesn't. He's never watched
No.
anything before. That's what I'm saying. He can't be allowed to
Have
watch movies
not
anymore.
seen any of the movies, and I
Look-
said, "Hey, maybe I should watch the movies." And then you were like, "No, don't watch the movies." So I didn't
Dude,
watch the movies.
Google Megatron. Literally look him up.
Okay, Aiden, I will look this up to appease you.
Okay, it's
Oh, no,
literally not even
Jason.
on. It's literally not even on the live action design. It's on every other design. of
Yeah.
it.
Like, this is the design I know him for, and he doesn't fucking have it.
How is that the design you know him for, and not the design that he's known for instead?
Because I haven't watched the animated series.
You haven't watched anything, you say. This is
Yeah.
the one that's in everything is the normal one. The normal one that's in the movie you just watched also.
Okay, this was my first Transformers experience, okay?
This guy. Anyway, it was a great movie. For someone like me who has very surface level baseline knowledge, whenever he was like, Autobots, roll out. Or whenever they were like,
I understood that
Decepticons.
reference.
Yeah, great. It was great. It was a very good movie. It's probably very fan servicey, but I did think it was a great, amazing movie. I liked how at the beginning of the movie, Orion Pax said anything. D16 was like, "Hey, I want to kill you so bad." It was so funny. This movie is really funny. It's like really tight script, really animated, amazingly. One part that bugs me is every time D16 says that he was deceived, and I was like, dude, just say like deception. It's so easy.
I was
'Cause then it sets up-
Decepticon.
and then it sets up the name later in the movie.
So we were Decepticons all along.
Yeah, but I thought it was an amazing movie.
Decepticons was the friends we made along the way.
Okay, which one
I mean,
do
it
we
sounds
do?
more interesting, but and Aiden, are you a big Transformers fan in general or no?
Not really. I mean, I think it's cool. I think Transformers are awesome. I just remembered this one scene where Optimus Prime grabs the Royal Guard. He grabs him with his arms and his legs, and how Optimus Prime transforms is that he twists his lower body around, and then that transforms into the wheels. And he uses that transformation to twist someone in half and break them in half. And I think this movie used the way that these characters actually transform in real life, like well into the
Okay,
battle.
that was like one thing that I thought was kind of stupid, where it's like, why does the alien robot want to transform into an American truck?
Because it's sick as hell, dude.
Yeah,
Are you
I
what?
get
saying,
that it's sick as hell.
Is this the episode
But
of
I'm
you
like-
like not having suspension of disbelief?
bro's
God.
suspenders have fallen. His pants are off. His wang is out in the
Bro's at
open
the
air.
Diddy party.
Like, why are you saying the allegations that you know P Diddy?
I don't know P. Diddy.
All right, let's move on to the other robot movie. How about?
That's
Wild
the
Robot.
better robot movie.
Wow,
I
Third
think
best movie of the year.
really?
third best
So
movie of the year.
the
That's
Wild
pretty
Robot
cool.
is a movie that I probably would have liked to see with Beck in when we were in the summer, but it didn't come out at that time. But I haven't not seen the Wild Robot. I've heard good things. Talk about the
You
Wild
Let me
Robot.
tell you something. The people next to me were sobbing throughout the entire movie. It's
Really?
that good. Yeah.
Aiden, did you watch it?
I did see it. I don't. It's not a sob. Well,
It's a sob movie.
depending if you're a mom, I think it could be a sob-worthy movie. But I thought the movie was just really good.
What happens in the movie is so.
Here, Beck, you
Oh.
explain this one. I need to go get dinner and go to the bathroom. I will be right back.
Okay, so I read the book in elementary school, so I was really excited when the movie got announced. So here's what happens.
Yeah.
There's this robot, Roz, and she washes up on the beach of this random deserted island, and she is like trying to find like her like host and like get like a task to do.
Mm.
And she keeps getting like beaten down by the entire island. She like learns the language, but all of the animals hate her because she's a robot and all this.
Is there
And
dialogue
she
in this
keeps
movie?
trying. Yeah, there is. She keeps trying to like activate this like distress beacon to like get the people to come and pick her up. So she goes and she's like trying to do all this, but then a storm happens and she gets knocked over, and then she falls down a cliff, and she falls directly into a bird's nest and kills a mama bird and I believe 2 children,
That
and
is a
leaves only
dark movie.
one. Yes, and leaves only one egg left. And then she takes the egg, and she's walking around, and she meets this fox. The fox is named Fink. And he's trying to steal the egg, but eventually they like kind of team up, and the egg hatches into a little like baby duckling. And then she gets the new task to protect the duckling and teach it to eat, to swim, and to be able to fly for the winter. And then you have like the whole thing of like the duck growing up and being taught, and then the duck is eventually named Brightbill.
Oh.
And Brightbill, he is like a runt. So he's like, he was never meant to be able to like survive, but like through all this work he's able to. And there's like a great montage where like flying is like the hardest thing he was able to do, and this great montage they have of him learning how to fly, and it was really cool and it was really sweet. And then eventually they say goodbye because Brightbill has to migrate for winter. So he goes and migrates for the winter, and then it's basically the mom saying goodbye. So Roz then is like, I completed my task. So she goes, and the fox is like, you could stay here if you want. You don't have to go back to the factory, which is like, now that her task is finished, she has to go back to the factory. So she goes to sit to like on the cliff to return to the factory. And she goes to start it. She starts it, but then she decides to stop it and go and live back on the island. But now we're at winter, and the winter was really bad. There's like a storm, a ton of snow. So all the animals in hibernation like can't really survive. So this was the thing that I remembered very clearly from the book, which is what Roz does is she uses the hut that she already has, and she lets all the different animals in over winter to just be in her house, and then she bonds with all of them. And it was cool. And then eventually we get to like the third act where it's like Bright Bill comes back from migration. But Roz sees that he has friends in the flock now and is like, oh, okay, well, he found his family. So she goes, and then the people from the factory come to pick her up. But then she sees Bright Bill, and she's like, I have to go be with him. So they go, and they fight all of the robots that are trying to come to take Roz. And then all the animals of the forest team up to fight against the robots. But then Roz realizes that they'll just keep coming back again and again to try to get her because they really want like her memories and like program, because like she was able to like do all of this like stuff and like learn the language of animals and like kind of think for herself. So it was really important to them.
Like overwrite her program and like be a mother and have emotions.
Yeah. So eventually she decides to just give up, or not really give up, but like sacrifice herself, and so that none of the other animals are harmed from people immediately coming to try to get her back. So the movie ends and she is back in the main city, seemingly having her memories cleared. But then Bright Bill flies into the greenhouse and they meet up. So it's like the memories are still there. And it leads into the second book in the series, which is when she escapes from the whole city stuff. But I don't know if like a second movie is actually going to happen, because this was like
It
one of
was
the
the
like
first one
last.
based off the first book.
Yeah, it was based off the first.
How many
book.
books are there?
I believe 3. Yeah.
How identical is it to the book, Beck? Having read the book.
To be honest, I don't remember that much of the book, but I remember really liking it.
Okay.
Yeah. The only thing I like really remembered was the whole like surviving winter and them all sharing the hut.
It sounds like a pretty good reversal of where she was in the first part of the movie, where she leaves down, the animals don't like her, and then she becomes a hero of the animals.
Yeah, like there was a really sweet moment where this beaver made her a new foot out of wood, and I thought that was a really just cute 5-second moment.
I thought the whole movie was really amazing. I definitely think there were so many unique shots in this movie that could not have been done if it wasn't an animated movie.
Definitely. It was insanely well stylized, that they didn't just go for like the Pixar style look. Like they blended a lot of like 2D in there. Like I especially noticed it like the fox's bed, like all the shrubbery there, that like looked 2D.
Yeah.
Yeah, you could tell. Yeah, they definitely stylized the animation a ton.
I think the voice acting was pretty good, despite having like celebrity voice casting. It was still like Pedro Pascal did a really good job.
Pedro
like,
Pascal.
who
is he?
He's the fox. It fucked up that his name is Mink. That's like naming a cow like Rawhide.
But I didn't know it was Pedro Pascal until the end.
It seems like Transformers 1 and Wild Robot both had a lot of celebrity voice actors.
I think they both did a great job with the voice acting. I think I'm okay with voice actors if they're good voice actors.
Yeah.
Another thing I really liked about
the Wild Robot.
Well, yeah, no, I'm trying to think. I had a thing that I really liked about Wild Robot, and then I forgot about it.
But
never mind. Let me say the thing that I don't like. I don't like how little this is a problem I have with Lion, where I think there should be more relationship between Roz and Bright Bill, especially him growing up. It just kind of goes from he was born yesterday to he needs to leave for migration in like a day.
Yeah, I do really like how you could see like the personality of Roz like really like bled into Bright Bill, like the way he talks and like all that. So
I don't
mean,
even.
there
It's
was
not even personality. That's just like his mom. That's what he thought that he was a robot.
yeah.
Like, every time he moved, he'd go. "Vroom, vroom, vroom, vroom."
That's a really good
It was-
robot.
Oh, here's the thing I really like. Bright Bill sleeps right here on Roz's neck. When Bright Bill leaves, Roz sits on the edge of a cliff for like a month or something, and she just keeps rubbing this part. After that part of the movie, the paint is chipped off of her neck right here.
I didn't notice that.
It's so cool.
yeah.
That like
That's
it's like
attention
it's
to
just
detail.
it's just chipped off here. Like she does it a couple times, and you just notice that it's gone. Like it's just like an underneath layer. And like Roz just takes a beating in this movie. She just changes dynamically. I didn't think Roz was gonna make it out of the movie.
Wow. I mean, it's still a kids
Like,
movie, so
yeah, that's
Roz
what you would
kills a
think.
family of 3.
Kills a family of
That's just-
3. There's, I would say, a total of at least 30 deaths in this movie. There is a baby possum death, and they're like, oh, the possum died. Oh well, and then he comes back like 3 minutes later. He's alive, and she's like, oh god damn it.
God damn.
This movie does like
Yeah.
to use death and like finality.
Well, that sounds more kind of a fresh for a kids movie, and it sounds like a really kind of a good time, like great animation. The trailer looked amazing.
Both it and Transformers do a great job at stretching the PG.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, I want to get into the other 2-person, then we can end with the 3-person.
Okay.
Now, for Megalopolis, I
No.
would just like to state something quickly.
Yeah.
Aiden
Mhm.
was saying this whole thing, like, saying to me, Beck, I really need you to watch The Substance. I can't explain this alone. And I'm like, okay. And then I watched Megalopolis. I'm like, oh wow, it must be more confusing than this.
Well, I hadn't seen Megalopolis. At
Okay,
that
you
point.
hadn't seen Megalopolis.
I had
but
just seen. The
I
Substance.
can easily explain The Substance. I don't
No,
even know where to begin
you
for
can-
Megalopolis.
You can easily explain The Substance, but you would sound like an insane psychopath. And I didn't want that.
So, guys,
But I don't even know how to explain
I have not seen
Megalopolis.
Megalopolis, and I think I need to. But
You should watch it, but you should not watch it. And I want to watch it again, but I don't want to watch it again. It's a baffling movie.
so
The
guys, can you
greatest
explain to
comment
me
I saw.
what Megalopolis
Yeah,
is?
the
Go on.
greatest comment I saw was the movie is amazing. It's funny when it tries to be, and it's even funnier when it doesn't try to be.
Okay, but did it win $1 megapolin dollars in box
So
office?
I will try to vaguely explain everything I remember about this movie.
I
How long is the
literally was
movie?
forget. It's like 2.5 hours long. I was literally forgetting scenes happened immediately after they happened because they don't matter.
Okay, yes.
None of it matters.
Yeah.
Wait, here. Wait,
So-
let me hold on. Let me explain the plot.
Yeah.
Adam Driver wants to build a city, and then he builds a.
What? You cut out.
Adam Driver wants to build a city, and then he builds the city, and that's the whole movie.
Okay.
Wait, I'm not
And then
holding
now
it.
I will explain all the stuff that happens in between those 2 plot points. So
How
Adam
much?
Driver-
Hold on, Beck, before you talk about it, how much does it affect him and his struggles of building the city?
Not really.
Not at all, really. Actually, if you think about it.
Yeah. So we have Adam Driver, and he inexplicably has the ability to stop time.
Mhm.
There's this other woman. She can somehow move when Adam Driver has stopped time.
We only
The
know this.
woman's
He only does it twice.
yeah.
He only does it 3 times.
And then this woman's dad is Giancarlo Esposito, and he's the mayor, and he wants to build a casino, but Adam Driver wants to build Megalopolis. Stuff
Megalopolis is a utopia.
And
by
why
the way.
can't you have a casino and Megalopolis at the same time?
I don't know.
They didn't explain that. I think the casino is just going to be really big. I think that's
And
all it was.
then Megalopolis is
country
going to be
casino would
made
be
from
sick.
unobtainium or some random element that they never go into.
That's
But it's somehow
Avatar and Obsidian.
Oh,
Yeah,
you,
it's-
oh, Beck, you're
What was it
talking about
called?
magic, right? You're talking about the element of magic.
Was it magic? It was called something.
It was called Megalon, but
Megalon, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it was just magic because it does everything in the movie that it.
Yeah. So it can regrow organic limbs. It can be
Mhm.
semi-transparent. It can like move around. It's very weird. Okay, and then we have a coliseum, and then they're doing all this stuff, and then there's this woman, and she's a virgin, but then she
But then she
does
wears
this
the
dance.
then she wears the dress that says "You can see right through me," and you're like, I wonder if that.
That'll come back
and
later.
then
It'll come back
the,
in 1 minute.
and then someone hacks the Adam Driver's cousin hacks the screen to show Adam
Sorry,
Driver.
hold on. No, you should say his name. Shia LaBeouf hacks into the system of the Coliseum.
Shia LaBeouf hacks into the Coliseum, puts on a sex tape of Adam Driver having sex with this like 16-year-old. So
What
he
is
gets arrested for
happening?
statutory
Yeah,
rape.
you think
But
you know what's
turns
happening.
out she wasn't 16, she was 23.
What is this a plot line?
And then
And she was from Indonesia. You can't forget about that.
yeah, and then they randomly have like a montage of her going into like an emo fire arc.
And it
Because
wasn't.
now she's
it also-
23.
It also wasn't Adam Driver. It was a fake video. Also on top
Yeah,
of
it was
it.
a fake video.
It was AI.
And even further on top of that, they're like, okay, he's still a pedophile though, because she said she was 16. But it's like, it's also not real. 2, you had no problem with it before. 3, you're okay with incest? Question mark?
Yeah, there's a lot of incest in this movie also.
I think I was watching House of the Dragon over here.
Okay, yeah, and then we completely forgot. There's this reporter lady,
Aubrey
played
Plaza.
by Aubrey Plaza, and
Her
she
name-
marries...
Her name is Platinum Wow, and she is in love with Adam Driver, but then he's like, no, I don't believe in marriage. I believe in Megalopolis. And then she's like, all right,
That's
I'm
such a
gonna go
hard
leave
line.
and marry the rich
That line goes so
fake
hard.
guy.
Yeah, marry the rich guy and
single,
then
divorced,
try to steal
I
his
believe in
money.
Megalopolis. That's the dating.
She's gonna
profile.
steal his money by hypnotizing him. I don't know how
Yes.
she did that.
And
Why is
then
everybody trying to go after Adam Driver in this movie?
eventually, Star Platinum decides to
Star Platinum.
do
He's not
No.
wrong.
decides
He's technically not
decides
wrong.
No, Beck, you
decides
forgot.
to work with Shia LaBeouf.
No, you're
And
missing an important
There-
plot part. You're missing an important plot part. The reason that Shia LaBeouf has gained his power. Remember the first thing we see in the movie, right? The opening shot is the USSR satellite. Remember, the opening shot says it's going to crash land in Chicago.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, it's going to crash land in Chicago. And then an hour later, it doesn't. And it crashes into New Rome instead. And then nothing happens out of it. So
Yeah.
even though it was an establishing shot and deemed as important, nothing happened. That's how the whole movie is. Something gets set
Okay.
up, resolved 3 seconds later, nothing matters.
Okay, and then Adam Driver and the other woman fall in love, but her dad doesn't like it. Star Platinum now is working
Who the
with
fuck
cousin
is Star
Shia LaBeouf,
Platinum? You mean from JoJo?
like
Yeah.
from Megalopolis.
Sorry, Beck, you should call her by her real name.
What's her name?
Anti-Wow, okay?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll be back
and
in
then
like
there's
5
a
minutes.
very graphic sex scene.
It's not
Where-
graphic, it's a
Okay.
shadow, Beck. It's like half of it is
Oh.
shadows on a wall.
How's that graphic?
There's a sex scene between Star Platinum and Shia LaBeouf.
Wait, Beck,
And
we
she's
see
like,
penetration.
No.
No, he's eating her
But-
out, okay?
And then
Yeah.
he and her work together to overthrow the grandpa and take over the company. But then turns out they coup the guy and they go to like kill the grandpa, but the grandpa put a crossbow under his cover and shoots Star
Beck,
Platinum
You're
and then
forgetting-
shoots the
let
other
me-
guy in his ass.
Let me explain the scene better than Beck explained it. So Shia LaBeouf and Aubrey Plaza, they walk in. They're like, "Oh, he's so senile. He won't even know what's happening." Do you like my boner? I get hard whenever I see Aubrey Plaza. And they're like, all right, that's weird. And then he's like, I'm going to kill you. Takes off his covers this fast. Lifts up the crossbow this fast. Aims it at Aubrey Plaza this fast. And then goes, ka-dunk. And then it shoots at Mach 10 through her heart. And then she dies as if she didn't have a whole minute to dodge the bullet. And then it cuts back to him and he's already loaded enough. And he's already shot it. And then it hits Shia LaBeouf in the ass. And then he's already got another arrow. And it's Shia LaBeouf in the ass.
Shia LaBeouf in the ass again. And then Adam Driver is close to doing Megalopolis. But guys, he can't stop time anymore. An ability he's never used. And he's really sad he can't do that.
I want you guys to know Beck is telling this so out of order because what the scene
is out of order.
The scene we just explained happens in the last 20 minutes. The scene Beck is explaining happens an hour beforehand, and that's how little it matters.
I'm trying to go by plot lines, okay? Because I can't remember stuff in chronological order.
We also forgot the part where he gets shot in the eye, and then 3 seconds later gets healed by the magic metal that he created. And then he's fine.
Some random 6-year-old shoots him in the face.
His name was Sam, okay?
Yeah, and then Megatron is able to like stitch up the face back together.
And that's when he goes to Aubrey Plaza because his bank account is canceled.
Yeah. And then everyone's pissed because Megalopolis is done, but they don't want Megalopolis. But then Adam Driver's like, guys, Megalopolis is open, and then everyone loves Megalopolis.
Yeah.
And then the baby is born and it freezes time. And they're fucking kissing. And then directed by Francis Ford Coppola.
Now, let's actually get into...
They wanted to name the son Francis, then everyone in my theater started laughing.
It's because the dad is named Francis.
No, it's because Francis Ford Coppola.
No, Beck, do you remember the scene where he walks in and he says, my name is Frank. Not Francis, just Frank. It's just Frank, like Frank Sinatra. Not Francis, my name is Frank. I don't
You don't remember
that? That's when he walks in, he says that, and then he gives him the envelope that says, break up with my daughter, and I'll let you build Mega. You have 3 days. And then he gets shot in the eye. Do you not remember that?
It was weird. And then Giancarlo Esposito's desk is half buried in sand for some reason.
Dude,
and then it isn't half buried in sand.
Well, that's because they were at the 5 minutes where he watched an Egyptian documentary, and he watched an Egyptian documentary and National Treasure at the same time, and he wanted to put that in there. All right, can we just not talk about the plot anymore and just talk about how
Adam Driver has children in his basement designing the city?
Happening?
And he's like, imagine, not with you, don't look, just think about it. And she walks through a diorama and she's like, whoa, this city is so cool when I imagine it. And don't look at the pile of that I'm walking through.
How did this movie feel like so convoluted? How did it pack so much into this 2.5 hours?
Okay. But
every scene takes place over 5 minutes of time.
Okay, yeah. One of my favorite scenes is when Adam Driver is first meeting this woman. He like interests him, and then he goes like,
he takes off his coat and puts on a
and then puts on a fucking cape.
No, he puts on a different coat.
He puts on a different coat, but it looked like I thought it was a fucking cape. And
no,
I'm like,
it was just another coat.
Now, the thing that I love the most about this movie is if I was watching this alone in a theater, I'd be enjoying it like a bit. It'd still be kind of fun. I was watching this Thursday previews, entirely packed theater of film students excited for the next Francis Ford Coppola film, realizing how shitty Megalopolis is and how stupid it is.
How many people walked out?
No one walked out. It was just everyone started laughing at it. So anytime it would just do like the stupidest thing, it like randomly cut to a blue tinted shot of a woman for no reason,
Dude, the camera,
which is like his dead wife,
Let us
which is
please-
also what the medal is.
Is she the medal?
Someone is like, "Isn't your dead wife the medal?" And I'm like, "Wait, what?"
They don't know what happened to her, okay? I don't even think she has a name, I'll be honest. Maybe she does.
No, because they opened the morgue one time and it says Jane Doe.
Yeah, you
'Cause
know it's Jane
someone-
Doe. No,
Yeah.
people are Jane Doe is like the.
I know what Jane Doe means, but I
Okay.
think that means like they know the woman is, but they're keeping her hidden as a Jane Doe.
Yeah,
I don't know.
I don't know either. But also, she was pregnant with twins. That doesn't matter, but it has a cool transition that kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah.
So let's.
Oh,
can
the CGI in this movie is terrible.
Let's talk about everything else that this movie has. The CGI is the worst CGI that you've ever seen.
What?
What's
It's
the budget for
But
this movie?
he spent
Terrible.
$120 million making this movie.
I don't know where that money went, quite frankly, because it's the worst.
$120 million.
It is the worst visuals you've ever seen in a movie ever.
It is the worst.
It looks like Shark Boy and Lava Girl levels.
You can
of
tell they were
CGI.
just standing on green screens for 90% of
90% of this movie is that. 2, half of the angles and camera angles and lighting and everything don't make sense. There's this one like circle spotlight lens that he keeps using that doesn't make sense. There's this thing where he splits the screen into 3 separate parts, but he doesn't split it into 3 separate parts. He just puts black lines down the like first and second, third. They're the same. It's the whole screen still, but he just does that.
This poster, what the fuck was this pickaxe? Like they brought a ton of importance. But what the fuck is this?
It
He
doesn't
holds it in,
mean
like
anything.
one scene. He holds it in one scene and everyone started laughing when he did it.
And a montage. And I was like, hey, that's
There's
the
so
thing.
many random trippy ass montages in this movie.
There's the one where he does drugs, but he's actually like, time won't control me, I control. While he's getting his ass
Yeah.
beat for being a pedophile.
Yeah.
Bro, there's the camera angles are so bad. There's one where he walks into into the room in the Coliseum. What next was starts at a Dutch angle and then it comes back up to being a regular angle, and there's no reason he had to do that. And then he walks to his mom and he goes,
Loki, he might have just been experiment. This movie might just be a social
and then he
experiment.
leaves the room.
And then Lawrence Fishburne is randomly saying Greek phrases. And he's also the driver.
And also, he's also the narrator, Beck. You forgot about that. He's also the narrator. He is a third person. He's an omnipotent narrator who is within the story, who knows exactly what's going on.
Okay,
He
yeah,
also
and then
doesn't matter.
Adam Driver wins over the woman's dad by just talking in Latin phrases to him. Like just
Yeah.
quoting random philosophers.
This movie is also written like he read an Edgar Allan Poe book and then watched Leonardo DiCaprio's Romeo and Juliet, and then he wrote the script for it. It is so incoherent. Every single word that they say is not words that should link together. It is like he typed it out in English, translated it to Roman, translated it back to English, and then read the script that way. Also, when is this movie supposed to take place?
The future. Right?
No, because they said the third millennium, right?
He says 21st century.
Yeah. Okay.
He says 21st century.
I do want to say, Aiden, like this movie, for however bad it is, I was engaged the entire time. I couldn't look away.
It's
like-
such a terrible movie. I want to
like-
watch it again when I'm less tired, because I was like, what the hell is happening? If I was more, then I would be like, all right, maybe this movie's cooked.
Now,
It didn't cook. It didn't cook at all.
my review for this was Francis Ford Coppola's Horizon.
Yeah.
Now, I said that because it was a movie he spent 30 years trying to make and it ended up being terrible.
Yeah.
But it isn't like as bad as Horizon because it's not 3 hours and it's actually like engaging and it tells a full story.
It does?
I can't believe it does not tell a full story.
It does
Like,
not
you
tell
are-
a full story. But I'm saying is that there's an ending, unlike Horizon, which is like
I might have to watch this weekend.
Here's
no, because Aiden he builds the city. That's a better ending than Horizon had.
What stops him from building the city? Because he has all the permits. He has all the money. The only thing that stops him from building the city is time, but he can control time. Also, how long does this movie take place over? Because Hanukkah happens and the New Year happens.
What is happening?
So the 1 year does not pass, but at least 9 months pass because they give birth to a child. But then why even show Hanukkah? Because the Hanukkah scene doesn't matter. That didn't come out of anything.
It's just in a random montage, yeah.
It's its own montage. The Hanukkah scene is its own montage. So is the Nazi Elvis montage. So
Oh yeah.
Shia LaBeouf is a Nazi guy in this movie. He is literally JFK Jr. And it's so confusing. And there's this one scene where Giancarlo Esposito and the Julia character are sitting on a subway train. They're sitting on a subway train because the Nazis are blocking them. While they are on the train, the Nazis clear the road. So there's no point in them taking the train, but they'll take the train because they're already on. That's not the problem with this scene. Well, it is because it doesn't matter. The second problem with this scene is that it is framed like there is going to be something that jumps out of the background.
Oh yes! No,
It is framed like a
so much
horror
negative
movie.
space on this one square, and they keep cutting back to it.
They are in
Something must appear in the square, and then nothing appears in the square.
and the lights are flickering like it's a horror movie.
Someone is gonna appear when the lights cut out,
and then nothing
never
appears.
happens.
And there's a scene near the end of the movie where they're standing on the Megalon glass floor. You were seeing through the bottom, and they set the baby on the floor, and it looks like Adam Driver is going to punt the baby, like he's just gonna golf swing the baby, because it looks like he's on like a tee. Every shot in this movie feels like 8 other things are supposed to be happening in the shot, and then he forgot to put the things in the shot.
Dude, I feel like this has to be like a fucking parody. Because I
There's no
swear,
way he made it seriously.
no, because I
out of-
keep thinking that entire like 5-minute scene on the train. I'm still so blown away. I've forgotten about it.
that was the thing that took it
how
far.
did nothing happen? It was perfectly framed with the negative space in the rule of thirds. In the rule of thirds, guys.
No,
It was
it was
supposed to be right there.
So this
And
is
there's
like
so
you made
many-
The Godfather, right? You
And
made
there's
The
so
Godfather.
many. There's so many moments with terrible ADR, almost as bad as Madam Web. There's so many continuity errors. There's literally outfit like design changes. There's literally different blocking between shots. There's a scene when he has his eye out and he goes to Aubrey Plaza and the old guy, and every time it cuts back to Aubrey, the Scrabble hand is different. every time she rotates the board one time, there's only 2 things on the board because she rotates it, and you can see
I want to watch
everybody
this
who's
so
playing,
badly.
and it changes 4 different times to 4 different combinations of letters. And it's like, what the hell, dude? Did you watch your movie? Did you notice the continuity errors? Did you see how ugly it looks?
We
I
have
need
to watch
that the
this.
I
framing
need to see an
and composition-
interview with Francis Ford Coppola being like,
do they
him
realize
explaining
how
this.
poorly everything fits together? There are 12 montages in this movie. There are 8 times the movie could have ended. He builds the city. Nothing stops him from building the city. The only people that don't want him to build the city is the mayor. And the only reason that the mayor doesn't want him to build the city is because he thinks he's evil. The only reason he's evil is because he's pretending to be evil. Why is he pretending to be evil when he has a line of dialogue where he says, being good doesn't make you popular, but being bad gets you killed? Why are you pretending to be bad then? You're gonna die. Why didn't you ever stop time? You did it 2 times. Once at the beginning, once 5 minutes later, and then you couldn't do it for an hour, and then you did it, and then you started making out with the girl, and I'm going insane. The movie made me so go crazy, and then I walked out of the theater, and I saw 5 raccoons crawl into a sewer grate, and that made more sense to the entire movie.
We should go watch
This-
it as a
I
group.
have-
That
I
sounds
have a-
amazing.
Literally,
want to watch
if
this
this
with
movie's
someone.
released on digital,
Amazing.
we have to do a Celsius
I
watch
saw-
party.
Be by myself, and it was the most baffling thing I've ever seen.
I did also see it by myself.
You know the scene where somebody who works at the theater is supposed to come up on stage and talk to Adam Driver in the movie, right?
Yeah.
It happens like in the last 45 minutes of the movie. It doesn't do anything, but it's framed like someone's supposed to talk to him. Here, let me edit my photo so you can see where the big the screen is. Hold on, give me a second.
I did hear that they did that for like IMAX showings.
Yeah.
In like certain theaters.
There's so many
Sadly,
good
I
movies.
was not in one of them.
There's so
Alright,
many movies I
so-
want to see.
I've highlighted the entire of the screen. The red is the screen, and they put it like this.
Oh yes!
Wait, what?
No,
You
so convinced they're gonna do like a Robot Dreams.
Yeah,
or like something.
No, they did this. The movie was framed like this for 5 minutes
does
while
it-
he talked.
Did
Like that.
Francis Ford Coppola like pirate the movie and then put it like in a
Dude.
smaller frame?
Yeah,
I don't
down.
know. Dude, when I was watching the movie, I was like, wow, this movie feels like it was written by Shakespeare. And then 3 seconds later, Adam Driver says, to be or not to be? That is the question.
He just randomly starts quoting Shakespeare standing on a high
Does
rise.
the movie at least look good? Other than
No, it looks terrible. It looks like
The
Thor
green
11 foot
screening is
under
so
CGI.
bad.
well, other than
everything-
the CGI, the cinematography,
No, the cinematography is terrible.
the color grading.
No one
Land levels of good.
It looks,
doesn't understand framing.
it looks like it's underwater for like 50% of the movie,
Guys,
but it's not
I think you're gonna put
underwater.
you in like a psychiatric hospital because you have megalopolis
Also,
syndrome.
they call it New Rome, but it's like just New York. There is no difference. It is just New York, but they have a Coliseum.
New Rome.
That's all it is. No, it's just New York because you see New York license plates, and you know how New York license plates have the shape of New York on them? The shape of New York is still on the license plate.
I feel like this is gonna be like The Room in 10 years. You know, a cult classic.
Yeah.
Did you see the thing I sent where it was just the picture? Here, I have it. It was a tweet from May 5th, and it said Megalopolis 2024, and it was this screenshot.
I
And
still
then
have.
yesterday they said I had no idea it would be like this.
You know what's so funny?
Dude, I so
I was
wish
recently
this had
going
released in the
through-
summer. This would have been the best Celsius Pod movie
I know.
experience.
I was going through and cleaning out all the CDs we have, and we have Starship Troopers on DVD.
This is not related to anything we're talking about. We're
Yeah,
talking about
I don't know.
like,
Somebody mentioned
I've-
Cult Classics, and I don't know.
Okay, I think we need to talk about The Substance now
Let's
because
talk
we
about
have
Substance.
that and Whiplash still.
So, The Substance, guys, I watched The Substance yesterday. And Beck watched it
I
today.
watched it Wednesday.
I watched it
so-
today, and Aiden was like, you know, you should watch this, you know. And I'm like, okay, Aiden, I'll watch this. You know, you were grossed out by Cocaine Bear having a slight amount of gore. It shouldn't be that bad.
This movie
If you liked it.
is fucking crazy.
It's a crazy movie.
This movie is fucked up.
I did not anticipate, because I've been hearing a lot of buzz about this movie.
I thought the old woman would be the worst.
No.
I watched that scene. I'm like, this old woman is gonna be like the most grotesque thing they can do in this movie.
That was really funny.
She wasn't even that grotesque. She was just kind of crunchy.
Ooh, so what? Tell me about this movie because I've heard nothing about
So,
it.
Nikola, can I explain it?
Let's already explain. He can explain.
Yeah,
it. He
we
needs
had
to
just
explain.
yelled for like 20 minutes.
So Nick,
Yeah.
there's this movie called The Substance. It's been getting a lot of buzz because it was like a kind of award winner or like some festivals or something like that. It's a lot of buzz. So Demi Moore plays Elizabeth Sparkles in this movie. Now Sparkles, the movie starts off with her like Hollywood star, Walk of Fame star being made, and we're seeing how like she used to be this really big thing, but now she's kind of getting older, and she does like one of those exercise fitness shows for like moms and stuff, and she does that, but she's getting older, Nicola, you know, and Dennis Quaid plays some gross studio executive. He's like, she's too old. We gotta get a new person. And, you know,
Old and irrelevant. Let's go bring in the minors.
and they're like, and then someone says, she's got the doctor after she's in a car crash, and the guy's all like, "You're totally fine, the doctor. You're totally fine." But then his helper or something is all like, "You're a perfect candidate for something," and then he puts like something in her pocket, and then she opens it up. And it's like the substance. It's like a hard drive with the substance on it. And in the video, it says, "Do you want to make a newer, hotter, sexier version of you?" Essentially.
So the substance is just cocaine.
Yeah.
No.
And anyway,
Yeah.
and so she's like, she doesn't know if she wants to do it, but eventually she does take the substance. And like, it's a very specific process where she has to go to like this storage area to pick out the substance. And it's like, they at this point in the movie, you're like, okay, so it's something about like making a new version of you or something like that. It's like, this new version of you as they explain it, one week for every 7 days, you're going to be on, and then the other 7 days, your other version is going to be like on while you are off. And then essentially she takes the substance, and at first she doesn't really feel anything in the bathroom, but then she fucking falls, and then her body rips open, and a new version of her comes out of her body, played by
Guys, I think effects have gotten too realistic.
This was such a grotesque scene. It was insane. This movie is
I really want to see it.
Nicola, this movie is the most sexual, grossest, tight. Like, they do a lot of really tight.
Just basically just vor.
They have one scene where characters are literally going frame by frame of an ass shot.
Yeah. And one of the
island scenes, especially on like the producer guy.
Yeah.
And he's just so nasty. Every shot of him is like
Fucking eating shrimp.
Oh yeah, there's a scene, Nicola, where he's eating shrimp, and like you get every frame of him just like
Fucking macking on that shrimp.
Every time
It
it's
sounds
not,
amazing. I want to
every
see
time
this.
it's not gross, it is just framed nastily.
Nicola, you have
We
to
should
see
go-
this movie.
Would you rewatch this, Aiden, with me?
I'd rather watch Megalopolis again.
Well, that's like a 4 people event. I think this should
Yeah.
be like the 2 people event.
Aiden, we're
I
watching.
don't want to watch it again. I don't
Anyway,
really feel like
anyway,
watching
I
that
don't really
again.
want to watch it alone, but I don't know who else I would take to watch it with me.
anyway, and so Nicola, but it gets even grosser than that. So this new version, she's like a hotter, sexier, young version. She's great. I
Like,
love.
way sexier.
Yeah.
Bro, let me tell you
Beck
something.
doesn't agree.
I was vibing with the movie once this happened.
Yeah.
Beck started straight up jerking in the theater.
I immediately pulled out my phone in the middle of the theater and was like, bro,
Take pictures.
he's so hot.
He was in kind of kindness.
Straight
Out of
dorking it.
nowhere. I didn't realize he was watching the movie. I'm like, who? Sue?
Yeah, no, I texted him Sue's hot and he's like, wait, who's Sue?
Oh yeah, and Nicola, one thing you gotta remember in the beginning, where they have like different like I guess chapters going on. It says Elizabeth, and then when Sue comes out, it's Sue, and so Sue, she's like vibing. She's like a new, greater version. She gets the new job, and she like really makes the show like the fitness show like really popping. Everybody loves her, but then simultaneously the other 7 days. Elizabeth she's like kind of depressed since she's essentially just a different person, really.
Why
And-
doesn't she just take a second dose so it's like the full both weeks?
Yeah, so we'll get that later.
Oh, she does do that.
Yeah, the most
Okay, great. I
predictable
predicted it.
plot point.
And so what this movie is sort of building up at this point in the movie, you really get the sense that, Elizabeth, she's kind of like depressed about this fact. And something I found was really, really kind of sad that earlier in the movie, there's a lot of commentary about this movie. Obviously, it's definitely about like how social views and like the male gaze and all that stuff. There's a lot of like
And I think it was also about substance abuse.
really.
No way.
I think that
Wow.
was substance abuse and blaming your alcoholic and drug self for your problem, even though it was always you the whole time. And it was all your fault the whole time. And they make that very apparent when they're like, no, the other me did this. No, you're the same person, actually. You actually did that to yourself. I think it was a little on the nose.
It was
Didn't, one thing, it didn't make a lot of sense to me, like how connected they were. Like, I didn't know if it was the same person or a different person in like the first part, but then you could see that they were two very different people.
but their
after.
bodies
So
were
it was
connected.
just cocaine.
But their bodies were connected. And so, but essentially what I
Yeah.
thought the build up, which it did happen, I was like, okay, the other version, she's resenting that she has to leave she has to leave for 7 days a week because she's loving her new popular life, you know, and she's resenting the fact that she has to leave in the first place. So Nicola, in the movie,
Why is this like specifically to me?
because I'm explaining it to you.
You haven't
didn't
seen
watch
it.
Yeah.
So Nicola, in the movie, the clone or like the new version, she needs like a stabilizer, and she has like a stabilizer for every 7 days, for the 7 days, and then they get
And
like
also the dead body has like a food bag that sucks food
yeah,
like over those 7 days.
yeah, and then you gotta get a refill. But the clone, I mean, I guess not clone, but the new version, she starts to figure out that she can just take, I guess, the life out of the Elizabeth, the original, and put it to her to stabilize herself. But
Yeah.
But if you take more than 7 days, it like steals the youth from the main
And so-
host.
Yeah.
so she's a few more days, and then when Elizabeth comes back, her fingers like old and like gray and like wrinkly and veiny and all that shit.
It was one extra night, actually.
Yeah.
It was just so she could have sex with the motorcycle guy. And even after when she did it, all of her organs fell out of her back, and that was a really nasty shot.
I was like,
And then
Yeah.
how did
and then she was at the finger.
did she still have sex with the guy after that? I'm
I
confused.
have no idea what the scene was supposed to mean.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Necrophilia.
this scenes in the movie where I think, did it actually happen or?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of times when it just like the thing with like the giant pimple on her ass when it just like immediately cuts to like the other woman waking up. Like, did it actually happen or what? Yeah,
Aiden?
Why are you raising your hand for the classroom?
Here's what I think is that I kind of just realized now when you said that. I was like, wait a minute. I think that if you are taking the movie, if you look at the and you
Yeah.
literally just replace the substance with cocaine and then just pretend that she is just high the whole time, it makes way more sense. It is literally she
Yeah,
is on
but-
drugs, and the entire ending makes way more sense because
I
it's
would
just
say-
her either like on with the drug or way too high that she just
I think
tarnishes her
that would make
reputation
more
done
sense
in
to
the
be
air.
shrooms than cocaine, because cocaine doesn't make you hallucinate.
I'm not saying it's a hallucination. I'm just saying that there's an extra layer of visual to make the movie interesting. Because if she was just doing cocaine and she tarnished
do
her
think-
reputation that way,
They do really well, like the contrast between like Elizabeth and Sue, like the way it's like shot, where it's like Sue was like way more colorful and Elizabeth's a lot more darker. Like you
Yeah.
can really see the difference there.
And I'm gonna say,
Yeah.
I had a really fun time watching this movie in the theater. It was
So did I.
It's,
Yeah.
it's a crazy fun time, but I'll continue. So essentially, but Nicola, so Sue, she starts taking more and more. She's not obeying the rules, and she gets to a point where she's doing this for weeks and weeks and weeks. That she's taking the life force out of her, and we only see like
because they don't like each other. Because every time that Sue takes life out of the other lady,
what?
old and
You're-
wrinkly and
you're
hag,
gone.
and then
Cut
she eats 18 pounds of chicken.
Yeah.
Jerk chicken.
Which, like, I don't know
I didn't understand the chicken part. What happened?
I didn't understand the chicken part either.
She had like a fucking chicken bone in her ass. I don't know.
What does that mean? What does that mean?
Saying it was a hallucination, Beck.
Wait,
I
yeah.
don't know.
There. Okay, I was telling you about this movie. I
But the
would say-
one thing is like this movie wants to ruin food for you because there's an insanely gross scene where she's just cooking and it's like disgusting.
Yeah, it's
Dude, okay, when we get into how funny this movie is, we can talk about that scene. But let's continue.
Anyway, and so it gets to a point where she's like just taking all life out of her. Eventually, eventually, so Sue, eventually Elizabeth does come back after the weeks and weeks of after abuse and not
And she's preparing, Sue is preparing for the New Year's Eve party that she's going to be the host of. And Sue is like, all right, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. And then she runs out of juice and she's like, all right, I got to switch now. And then switch back quickly.
because it revitalizes the fluids in the
Yeah.
Elizabeth.
Yeah.
And Nikola, this is gonna get way grosser after this, but this was like such a shock. She's an old, decrepit, sagging lady, and it was fucking disgusting.
I mean, I
was.
your mom before, so it wasn't that different.
And so
He has no response to that. You got him
I
good.
thought he was
got
talking
it.
to Uri,
Okay.
not to me.
and so it's a
I'm sorry that listening.
it was a decrepit. She's so like old, and she's like, what can I do to the people? Like, you could terminate her, and so she decides to terminate Sue.
Terminator 2.
And so she puts like
Judgment
a terminating
Day.
fluid, but she's like, "Fuck, I can't do this. I need you," because she realizes, I mean, like she still likes because they are the same person really, and so she
Yeah.
wants that youthful side of her still alive, and she was like, "I can't do this," so she tries to revitalize her fluid or something by like putting her blood.
Because I think what she tries to do is switch with it so that the old lady gets terminated and then the new one is fine.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Eventually Sue wakes up and then she realizes you're gonna kill me, and this was fucking brutal. Sue chases after Elizabeth, and fucking Sue survived. I mean, Elizabeth survives for quite a long time, but she bashes her head into a
face
mirror.
slapped against him 4
This movie
times,
sounds
bro.
amazing.
And no,
I
you know,
really
there's
did.
so much fucking blood. She bashes her into the mirror like 20 times. She runs.
We're not even at the worst blood scene yet.
This sounds great. I really want to see this.
And then,
People love it, Nikola.
And then Nikola, she kicks Sue like really hard, and then Sue finally does.
Yeah, no, that was insanely unrealistic. That was like a superhero kick.
That was like when I first watched. That's when I first watched Supernatural or whatever whatever one, you know, the classic horror movie. I think it's called
No.
Isn't it called
That's a
Supernatural?
TV
Supernatural
show.
is a TV show.
Oh, okay. Well, what's it called then? It's not Paranormal Activities.
Anyway,
It's the one. No, it's The Conjuring. The Conjuring, because in The Conjuring, in the final act, she just starts floating, and then one of the kids just gets thrown across the room into a window, and it was really funny.
but this,
I did not
yeah,
take the scene
it's-
seriously.
But Nikola, this movie is probably the bloodiest thing I've ever seen, and we've seen The Boys.
Okay, but have you seen? Oh, okay.
And then she's like she's gonna do the New Year's like celebration, but then now that now Elizabeth is dead, she's starting to like destabilize, and like she's thinking, what do I do? And the thing about
Her teeth start falling out is
she's
the
like,
main
fuck,
thing.
what do I do?
And that was fucked
And she
up.
realizes
And her falls off, and
Oh,
her just
that's
keep
like the
falling off.
scene in Leave the World Behind where the kids' teeth fall out.
And then she's like, what do I do? And then she has the dumbest but I guess ingenious idea of like, I should put the substance in me again. And you're only allowed to use the substance one time.
The thing is, they set it up earlier, so I knew they were gonna do something like it, where it's like they have like the cards and they broke every rule of the cards except that one. So you're like, they have to have broken every single rule, and it's like you can only inject once.
And this is the moment in the movie where I feel like it went a bit too long. It could have ended for me.
Here's the thing. I think it could have ended an hour before that scene, and then you just tack on that last scene. That was my main problem with the movie. It just kind of kept going like, uh-oh, Sue did a bad thing. Uh-oh, Elizabeth is mad now. Oh, Sue did it again. 45 minutes, and then
Yeah, you completely cut out.
You cut out.
Yeah, you gotta reconnect your mic or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Okay, well,
your
Anyway.
mic quality also is like dropped a ton.
well, anyway, I thought the ending, or like the ending was still good. I think it could have kept going, but I think like the middle 45 minutes could have been cut out because kind of repetitive.
Oh, and so I did want to mention this. It was earlier in the movie where I felt so bad for he was a weirdo guy, but I felt so bad for him. Like, there's this guy Fred earlier,
yeah.
and he's like earlier in the movie, he's like an old roommate or old classmate of hers. He's like, "You're the most beautiful person I've ever seen." He said it such a fucking weird way, but I guess that's
Three
He was
men in this
genuine about
movie. 3 men in this movie, and they are all creeps and pervs in their own special way. That is,
Oh yeah, because the
who is using the sexiness of women to make money. There is the neighbor guy who is the funniest character in this movie.
oh yeah, when he like
Okay.
fucking falls
Some
down the stairs after seeing the old woman.
pipes broken. I'll fix your pipes for you.
I got a big hammer.
but Fred,
And then this friend.
at least he I think this movie is also about the idea of self-confidence, and like if Elizabeth just believed in herself more and realized that she didn't need this like toxic system, she would have not needed to use a substance, you know.
I think it was really sad when she didn't go on the date.
Yeah, it's
you
like
know?
she's like, and then she's like, but after like feeling really crap, she goes to the one guy who did respect her, even though he was a fucking weirdo. He did believe that she was such a beautiful woman, even in like her older years, and she's gonna go on like a date with him or something. But then she just can't. Like the idea of her she can't be perfect now. She doesn't believe in her like beauty was such a sad scene for me, you know.
Yeah.
It was that she couldn't accept, and then she just ended up like eating like food on like the ground or something. But then back to Nikola. So Sue
Yeah.
decides she's gonna use a substance again, and like she's gonna make another hotter version of herself. But Nikola, that's not
Yeah.
how it works. She
Yeah,
creates the most foul monster I've ever fucking. It becomes like a
In
fucking
cinema
comedy
history.
at that point. It's like
Yeah.
a fucking. It's like it's a big bulbous like Elizabeth's face gets stuck
No,
into it.
I started bursting out laughing when she fucking taped the picture of herself onto it
Yeah.
and like put the lipstick on. I was the only one laughing in my theater. It was everyone else was dead silent. I was going like,
Dude, yes. On this movie is so goddamn funny.
It's very.
This movie is like third, the grossest thing you've ever seen. 2, the hottest thing you've ever seen, and 3, the unironically like unintentional funniest thing you've ever
I
seen.
think the
Every
last
time-
was pretty intentional.
no, that was intentionally
the
funny.
last part of
Yeah.
the movie.
But like, there's so many parts of this movie where just random stuff happens, and it's like, dude, that was not the thing that you thought it was gonna be. You did not. You made that with the intent of being a thrill thing, but it was like, no, I am laughing at the fact that you are doing.
Anyway, and then I thought I knew this was going to happen, but I was preparing such secondhand cringe for when she's going to go on stage like that with.
Yeah.
I was like, oh please don't do this. It's going to be so embarrassing. But then
No, I thought that was gonna be funny.
I see-
I usually have like secondhand embarrassment, but like I thought it was just gonna be a really.
Nicola,
funny scene.
the bulbous
Yeah.
monster. She wears like the dress she was gonna wear, and then she goes on stage, and she tries to speak, but she's like she can't really say anything, and then
They need subtitles.
and,
They literally like no subtitles throughout the rest of the movie, but when the monster is speaking, they have to put subtitles.
Nicola, it fucking becomes Frankenstein in the last like couple minutes of the movie, and where it's all like they're all like she's a monster, go get her, and then they like cut off her head, before they cut off her head, like she grows a boob out of her body,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and then they cut off her, and then she cuts off her hands, and like there's blood everywhere, and this is the bloodiest thing I think I've ever seen.
It is not a good scene. It is a terrible.
No, and then the guy like chops her head off. It blows up in blood, and then another one just grows back in its place.
and then she falls over and dies.
No, because then her arm and she just bleeds over the entire crowd.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
sprays the entire thing
We
red.
already said that, and that scene is
Yeah.
terrible. It is really loud, really annoying because it happens for like 5 minutes.
But it's so funny.
It's funny for the first 5 seconds of it, and then it goes on to another.
No, I think the longer it goes on, the funnier it is.
Yeah.
And it's like the face of everyone.
And this is
just-
the last thing I want to say, that her face, like, there was a part of Elizabeth's face was on the monster, and it, like, she dissolves in front of her star, and then her face, like, moves on to the star, which probably represents something that I can't analyze right now. But she,
Cocaine.
yeah, and it's like representing her last like bit to her stardom, but then she finally just like dies. And I'm gonna say I really enjoyed this movie. I definitely, it's not like for me it was more like a really, it wasn't fun bad. It was legitimately good for a lot of parts of the movie, but a lot of the parts was over eccentric comedy, definitely for me. But it was
the comedy was intentional in the last
Yeah.
scene.
Not even the last part, but for the rest of the movie, I don't think it was supposed to be, but it really was. And then it needed to, like, halfway through the movie, you get that the movie is about substance abuse, and you get that it's about beauty standards in America, and you understand that it's about male gaze and self-consciousness, and then there's still another hour and a half of the movie.
Yeah, but
and it doesn't really stand up on it further.
Nikola, you gotta watch it. It's fucking crazy.
I'm
It's
not watching it
crazy
by
what?
myself until it goes out on streaming.
It's a good movie too. I'm not saying it's not, but it just really kind of had a lot of problems that
I never watch it with somebody else. I'll probably watch it when it comes out on digital.
We got
Yeah.
the range of,
we gotta not go to the
of,
theater alone.
We got the range of like ratings. Aiden gave it a 3. I gave it 3.5. Beck gave it a 4.
yeah.
Yep.
I think I'll
I
give it a
don't
5
think
star.
I don't think any of us are wrong either.
Yeah.
This is like one where I'm totally accepting of everybody's opinion on this movie just because it was like kind of crazy. I don't know how people are giving it 5 stars.
Yeah.
It is nowhere near a good enough movie to
Telling me
deserve
it's as
that
good
much.
as La La Land.
No, but the thing is,
Okay.
Aiden, I'm really, because you were the first one who watches. I'm surprised by like how many random kind of movies you're watching nowadays. You know?
I've seen a lot of movies.
Aiden, do you just not have classes?
Oh, I
Because
do.
I live like half a block from a theater, and I can't get to as many movies as you do.
Well, here's the
Thursday,
I take
October
3 classes.
31st.
One's online, 2 are in person. I have been going to movies before and after school.
Yeah.
Okay, great. Do we have anything else to talk about?
Whiplash.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So,
So wait, guys, we gotta build up
This-
the suspense for Aiden.
Before that, I do want to say, I forgot to mention it when we were talking about the penguin. The Halloween this year is a Thursday. Thursday,
It's
October 31st.
no, is it a Thursday? I thought it was a
It
Wednesday.
is. It's
I
a
am.
Thursday.
Yeah.
And that lines up with the Batman, who also started on Thursday, October 31st.
Useless
21st.
tangent. We do
In
not need it.
conclusion, we should all dress up as characters from the Batman.
No,
I am not
episode.
doing
I
that.
call
For
the
that
Riddler.
episode. You don't want to do that for that episode?
I already have my list of characters that I want to do for Halloween.
Anyway, Nicola,
Use your
can you be
mindset.
him though? Can you be the Batman?
You can't.
Uh-huh.
It can't be
I
about
would,
it.
if I had the costume.
Anyway, so
Okay, Aiden watched Whiplash.
No. Let
Okay,
me tell the story.
here's what happens with Whiplash.
Yeah, you're good.
All right, so I don't really want to see it that bad, and Beck
And
gets
I
furious.
am
The world's
trying
biggest
to get him to go to
Whiplash
this.
And
I'm
because
the
there's
guy who cosplayed J.K. Simmons for the Whiplash re-release.
I
showings
can't
for
believe you did that. That was
Whiplash.
so cringe.
All the showings for Whiplash were like at the AMC's. There was none at the Cinemarks that are near me, so I would have had to drive like 40 minutes to go to the AMC, and I didn't really want to do that. So I was like, well, I'm okay with not seeing it. And then Beck got mad, and I said, fine, I can go at this time on Tuesday if you buy the ticket. And so then Beck bought the ticket for me after I told him, no, you cannot call my boss to tell me to get to work early.
No, because it was Sunday, and I was like, Aiden, what are you doing at 2 p.m. on Sunday? He's like, I'm working. I'm like, give me your boss's phone number. I'll explain the situation to them.
Very
No.
And
easy
Aiden would
situation.
not do it.
Very easy.
Because
situation.
guys, imagine you're a mid-level manager at a grocery store.
What do you mean mid-level in the grocery store?
Okay, you're the owner of a grocery store, and then someone calls you and is like, guys, my friend is the biggest Whiplash fan, and they're doing the re-release one time only on this day, and he needs to see it. Can you please give him the day off?
I would fire my employee and his friend.
Okay, but Aiden, you did eventually end up going Tuesday.
But
Yeah.
did you buy him a ticket?
I did buy him a ticket, and I sent him said ticket.
He did do that. So I went to the AMC. I got myself a Subway sandwich and I went to the Walmart candy, and it was great. It was an awesome time getting the food. So then I went to the movie and I sat down, and Beck got me tickets next to this couple who were on a date. And that was weird.
Those were the only seats for that time, by the
Why are
way.
you
When he
walking-
sent me, I bought the moment. The moment he DM'd
Beck,
me.
what?
And
That was
the
a
only
mo-
seats available were those.
Why are you
This
always
good-
watching movies with couples all the time? You know.
The theater was mostly empty, Beck.
Aiden, the seats were reserved, okay? All the seats were reserved except that one.
Was there? Beck, popcorn is normally $7. Your QR code dropped it down to 4, or like to 2. What the hell
Yeah.
is that? That's
So
crazy.
You get a large popcorn for the price of a medium.
Now we're going to go to AMC more because you gave me a QR code. Now it's
Also, I get points for that, so keep doing that.
yeah, you bought tickets for your parents on my account, so I also
Yeah.
got points for that. I used D-Box. I used like the D-Box upgrade on Cinemark like 2 weeks ago, and I already have made all points back.
Yeah.
So guys, we're using Beck as our Cinemark and AMC mule.
I'm the
No,
Cinemark.
Aiden's paying for
paying for the
Cinemark now
Cinemark.
if you want it. I'm paying
Yeah.
for AMC.
Yeah. Anyway, so I watched Whiplash.
And
Okay, don't get into your review yet. I am desperately. I have calculated the timing. I know the runtime of this movie. I know the start time of the movie. I know the 20 minutes for previews. So I know the exact moment Aiden will walk out of this theater and have Whiplash.
Yeah,
and I'm
and
refreshing my letterbox, and he
edged you.
he says that he watched it. No review, no rating. And I'm
no,
like, Aiden, what the fuck?
when I walked out of the movie, I came out of the theater and just messaged him the word Whiplash at 9:05 to signify that I was done with the movie. And then you said, "Why did you not rate it on Letterboxd?" At 4 in the morning. Well, I could be 7 for you, so I guess it's not that bad.
And, okay, yeah, you did walk out at midnight. That was my bad.
Yeah.
Beck, wait, were you
I
at
was
3 a.m.
asleep. It was a school night.
At 3 a.m. you were just
I had to
like,
wake up at 7 a.m.
Anyway, I came out of the theater. Do you want to know what my first notes after watching the movie were? In the theater next to the couple?
What?
Holy shit.
Actually, I
Yes.
don't know why Whiplash
liked
is such a
it.
couple movie.
No,
Even
wait,
in my
wait,
theater, there
wait.
was a shit ton of couples.
we don't. He just said holy shit, but what's
I
the
didn't
next-
say
He said 5 stars, unequivocal praise, end of episode. Always use Celsius.
He said, okay, to be holy shit, that was shit. Holy shit, that was great. Holy shit.
No, he
I
said
think it's gonna
holy
be
shit, that
holy
was
shit,
amazing.
that was not as good as
He
Beck
already
Beck.
added it to his 4 favorites on Letterboxd. I just checked.
So what I found to be insane is that you, Beck, you,
Yeah.
Uri, and you, Nikola, will have it in your top 4 movies. And it is regarded as one of the best movies of the century.
Best movie ever made.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
That is wrong.
Whoa!
You are wrong.
That's
Shut
the
up,
wrong
Aiden. You
part.
are wrong.
Name 3 movies better right now.
Who Framed Roger Rabbit, Dune 2. No, not Dune 2. I don't like Dune 2 very much, but I'm trying to appeal to you.
Night at the.
You're saying no, it's my second favorite movie.
Yeah, I
No,
thought it
it's
was-
not in your second favorite movie. You just established that earlier this episode.
No, La La Land's my number 1. It's my Whiplash is my number 2. Night at the Roxbury is my
He
number
did,
3.
yeah, exactly. That's enough. But here's what I have to say.
Whoa, okay, that's
Aiden.
pretty good.
Aiden, it has to be 5.
No, it was 4.5.
I
was-
Aiden,
it
it has
Have
to
his
be
own
5.
opinion. He can just.
I was thoroughly engaged the entire movie. I really enjoyed it. I just think that there is one major glaring flaw that made it kind of difficult to watch.
There's no flaws. No flaws.
Remember when we were talking about suspension of disbelief, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm one to suspend my disbelief. In
Yeah.
a couple of movies that we talked about earlier, Beck couldn't even suspend his disbelief, and I did. And I
What do you need to suspend your disbelief for?
Yeah, it's a jazz movie.
particular is the most unbelievable person. And what's his face? What's the main character again?
Andrew Neiman?
Andrew.
And
Andrew, man, what are you
he's
doing?
Andrew is the most unbelievable character also. They are just the not they he how
They are
how
unbelievable. What's unbelievable about them?
how does Fletcher continue to do what he does? Why does Andrew continue to follow and
Because he's so
accept what he
obsessed
does?
with
Desire to be
crafting.
great.
Bro, this is
This
Desire
is
to be great. That's
Bro
the
doesn't
entire point of
understand
the movie. I'm
abusive
sorry, Aiden, but
relationships, bro.
Sorry,
Bro,
I'm
you
Aiden,
get
but
it
the
into
entire-
the no, bro.
I'm
Bro doesn't
sorry, Aiden,
understand
but the
abusive
entire-
relationships and
Okay, can you guys
motivation
be
and
quiet?
working
But
through
the
a
whole
shitty
point
thing.
of the movie is that it's about the dangers of being too obsessive about becoming a master at something, of becoming one of the great, of becoming the great. So to be able to show that, well, not only that, but the whole point is that Neiman wants to become one of the greats to the point where he will sacrifice anything, to the point where he relies on Fletcher for everything, to the point where it was only when he got Fletcher's approval that he asked the girl out. It was only when he had Fletcher's approval that he was happy. And the second he lost it, he destroyed everything. He hurt himself. He broke up with
Girl.
the girl from
Yeah.
the girl. And even in the end, when he was alone, it was Fletcher asking him to come back. The whole point is that in his mind, the only way to become a master is through Fletcher, and he's addicted to Fletcher. So that's why he keeps. It's an example of an abusive relationship.
Yes, I get that. The problem I have is who the hell is letting Fletcher get away with it?
Aiden,
She gets fired.
Aiden, there's been abusive teachers that go just like not checked. You know that?
Yeah, that happens
There's been
all the
abusive
time.
teachers at Pally, Aiden.
Yeah.
Yeah, what?
Did they physically assault people? Did they
Yes.
in front of everyone
Yeah.
else? In
Yes.
front of
There
everyone
have
else.
been teachers that have
Yes.
done
There-
that.
There
Yeah.
have been Pally's.
Damien Giselle based off his own teacher.
Yeah, I know. I read the Wikipedia. He didn't say he was. He didn't say he got a chair thrown at him. He didn't say he was berated for everything he does. He didn't say there's no possible way that this level of insane person was left unchecked for so long. Because you're not going to tell me that everyone else just saw that happen. Or, that's okay. I would have immediately. The first scene that we see of Fletcher is like, this guy's already an asshole. The first scene that he's in. And I'm already like, Andrew, that was the dumbest move you could have made. How did you make that move?
Here's Andrew Neiman, Aiden, not Aiden Shoemaker.
Yeah.
Andrew Neiman suffers from, I am in a horror movie, so I'm going to make the stupidest decisions known to me.
Well, I say
He's
about
not
just
making
doesn't
stupid decisions.
What I
He's
say
making
about this movie is
flawed
sort of
character
like-
decision. He has this obsession, and that's what drives him.
And you
That's
see,
what
the whole thing,
keeps
another thing,
bringing him
what
back.
Neiman doesn't get is like, the whole table. The table conversation is one of the best parts of the movie. That entire conversation is like the whole message of the movie. And the whole point is that people don't actually talk about what was it, Bob Marley? They don't talk about Bob Marley anymore because, or whatever. They don't
Marley.
talk about the
Charles
jazz guy
Barkley.
anymore.
Yeah.
Charles Barkley. They don't talk about him anymore because jazz is dying. That's the whole point. Is that
Charles
nowadays
Barkley
people?
was a basketball player. You
Not
just
Charles
Okay, well
dumb.
then Uri is wrong.
I
That's
don't know,
what I thought.
someone Barkley.
The jazz guy.
Bird guy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
The jazz
Just say
guy.
Charles.
He says, I would rather die young and drunk and have people talking around me at the table. But the issue is people aren't talking about him around the table anymore because jazz is dying. And Neiman doesn't see that. What's more important is that your family, because your family will always talk about you if you make them proud. But he doesn't care about that. He wants to be a master, and that's what he's missing. And that's the whole point. And that's why he's addicted to Fletcher. And that's why he will put himself in these situations that seem stupid, because they are stupid. But he's willing to put himself through this because he so wants to become a master. And go
Why
down in
didn't they
history.
have Snap then?
What do you say?
What?
Why didn't Andrew Neiman go under the table and give him a sloppy toppy then? Explain that. Because if he wanted to suck his dick so bad, he should have just done it.
What the
What
fuck does
It
that
should-
I
mean?
don't think
Right.
you can. Okay, this is the Aiden. We can't let you watch movies anymore.
Completely out.
Aiden.
And you guys
This is
were
the Dunk on Aiden
missing-
episode.
Aiden tuned out
Really
through half
missing.
the movie and all of us.
Guys, I think this is a bigger crime than some of Beck's more heinous crimes. You know.
What the fuck, Aiden?
I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
a 4.5.
but
Aiden,
you
you
missed
need to
the
watch
point of
this
the
movie
movie.
again.
I know it's the point of the movie. I thoroughly understand the movie. I fully
Aiden, you
understand.
need to rewatch this movie.
But my main problem is that Fletcher is the most unbelievable character. His whole motivation comes from the fact that he thinks this bird guy is the only drummer that has ever existed.
I don't
And
know
you
what
can't
to-
say I'm wrong.
I don't know what to
Because
say.
when they sit down at the diner and he says that this is like the only guy that matters, that he says, you have to throw symbols at people's heads. You get it, right, Andrew? And Andrew's like, yeah, I do want to suck you off.
I think we have to end our episode for today.
Aiden.
The recommendation.
Yeah.
Aiden, no. I need to make closing statements.
Okay.
Aiden,
I think we're done. We're done with you talking.
I would like to give a closing statement. Aiden, you need to rewatch this film. It
No,
needs to be
I
complete
don't-
5 stars. You need to actually understand what the film was about.
Oh, I understood what it was about. I just didn't think it was the spectacular masterpiece that everyone says it is. I think that just the two main characters of this movie is supposed to take place in the real world, and they're so hyper exaggerated, where they don't feel like they are real people that exist in the world. And like Andrew makes the dumbest fucking decisions, not even based on Fletcher's stuff. Like, how is he so dumb to realize that this guy killed himself because Fletcher was such the worst person ever, and he kills himself? He's like,
all we knew was that he died in a car crash. We knew nothing else.
The other
Yeah.
student. The other student.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the other student.
Are there-
Fletcher
are there
like
any-
lies to the entire class and said he died in a car crash.
Yeah,
They have
but
no
he
reason
killed
to suspect that he
himself.
killed himself.
Yeah.
they're the same student, right?
Yeah. No, yes, it's the same student.
Yeah.
He doesn't do
Yes.
any. All the people know is that Fletcher tells them that he died in a car accident. It's only after when he gets told by the.
Yes, I know. I'm
the-
explaining that scene. I'm explaining when he finds that out. Why doesn't he say, "Oh shit, maybe Fletcher's a real problem"? Why does he say, "No, oh, I'm not Fletcher so bad. I'm
He
not
doesn't. He
bad."
literally agrees
He
and gets him
literally agrees
fired.
to confess and get him
Oh, he-
fired.
He agrees
said-
to get him
He says,
fired.
"Yeah, whatever," because he doesn't want to. You know,
he says,
doesn't.
Tell me
He
what
thinks
tell me
it's
what I need to
real,
say to
and
get
then
him.
he says,
kicked
yes,
out.
exactly. He says, tell me what I need to say.
Yeah, he's not like doing it. He's doing it for his family. He's not doing it for himself. You know that.
No, did you not watch the fucking
Oh
I
my
watched-
god, Aiden, you need to rewatch the movie.
He
The
never did
whole
it for
point
himself.
my
is that he's
God.
remembering and he realized that he's lost the meaning of why he was playing drums to begin with, and that's why he
Okay.
decides to go
And then
create it.
explain the rest of the movie. Why did they get
And
back?
then he's still addicted to the idea of becoming a master and Fletcher, and then he goes back to Fletcher.
Yeah.
and then he
Because
he
the second
relapses?
Fletcher shows him because the second Fletcher shows him a kernel of the fact that like, oh, he was just doing this to push you and to give him the chance of being a master. He sees that and he doesn't think that, and he doesn't. He's like has the idea that maybe he knows, but he hasn't shown it any, and maybe this is a second chance to become great. So he does it, and he goes all in, and of course it's going to be his downfall, but he's able to pull through. And even though it's not a happy ending, yes, he does become what Fletcher wanted him to be.
And I thought that was kind of dumb. All right, guys. Have a good
Why
day.
is- I
You
don't
guys should watch
why is that
Whiplash.
dumb?
Guys, watch The Substance. It's really
That's what
funny.
makes it so
Watch The
good.
Substance.
Now, watch The Substance, and Aiden, watch Whiplash.
I love Whiplash. I just think I don't like it as much
Always
as you
use
guys do.
Celsius, and please don't kill yourselves. Bye.
Yes.